Oh, nicked up, little champagne.
Not bad.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Fresh breath and a little bit of nicotine.
Yeah, it's supposed to have less shit that's bad for you.
Yeah. So they say.
Have you seen that dude Mass Spec Everything on Instagram?
Mm-mm.
He's like, he puts these pouches like through the Mass Spec and just like
Oh,
tells
really?
you all the shit that's in them.
Oh, I'm sure it's terrible.
The wintergreen Zins, all it is nicotine and those are like the best. And then there's the
Welcome
question
to
of
the
how
BlabberMalt
much
Show with your host, Dave and Matthias,
Up a
two
bit.
guys that blabber incessantly about beer, brewing, and bullcrap.
Cheers,
Stick around while they brew up another tasty episode.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
Century Club time.
Woo!
100 episodes. BlabberMalt Show. Episode 100.
Got a little brownies back there.
April 22nd, 2025. You believe we made it? Now it's a little loud. What do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty good.
All right.
We made it.
We got Mike from Masthead here to celebrate with us.
What's up,
Thanks
buddy?
for coming out, man.
Heck yeah.
Hi, everybody.
So if you guys don't know, we do a show every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. We talk about beer, brewing, and bullcrap. I think we should do the Century Club tonight. 1 ounce of beer every minute for 100 minutes.
No,
What do you think? Come on.
we didn't.
Let's do it.
We didn't
I mean,
prep
at a
ourselves
certain
for
point,
that.
just do a whole beer every minute, for 100 minutes, or for until you die. But,
Yikes.
Yeah. That goes back to our pre-show conversation. We didn't invite Crooked Pecker here for this tonight, or it would have been that way.
That's,
Shotgun a beer every minute for 100 minutes.
There's a reason we didn't do that.
It's true.
We would die in 10 minutes.
Hey, by the way, we're also cross-posting tonight on Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News. So if you're watching from there, welcome.
Yes, indeed. If you just found us, welcome. And if you've been here, where's the usuals? Where's Dustin? Where's Rick? Where's Dan Maines? Where's all the people? Come on.
Light us up. Hey, Dave, how do you find us?
All the places, Facebook, YouTube. Tomorrow will be up on Spotify for video, and everywhere you can get just the audio if you want. But video's better because you can see all the antics.
Yep,
You never know when somebody's going to shotgun a beer, and you definitely need to see that.
it's true.
Yeah.
or in glass bottles. So,
Oh, yeah. Can't shotgun this, but
Well, I have a
you
beer.
definitely
bottle.
chug one. I mean,
spin it up and go to town.
yeah. Could be
Yeah,
worse.
it could be done.
Hey, it's always important, guys, to like and subscribe us here
show.
on Facebook. Boom.
Yep.
Hit and smash.
We're right around 675 followers on Facebook, 150-ish on YouTube. So that's not bad.
Not too shabby, but like I
Not
said,
too bad.
we're need to get those followers so we can see what's going on every week. Because if you're not catching the reels, all y'all who are watching our show, thousands who are out there, you're not getting the reels that Dave puts out every week, which is pretty
you
cool.
gotta follow because they're fun.
They're funny. All the fun things that we say and do, and a little savage.
Most of those have nothing to do with beer. It's just goofiness that happens in between.
Yeah, sausage parties.
It's all the bull crap, yeah.
All the bull crap.
That's the best part.
It is.
It really is. I mean,
So, Mike, how do you guys get a hold of you?
Masthead's Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably that.
that's your number one spot.
Yeah.
Good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Instagram's
I'm not super active on social media, but
No.
I don't know. Not super passionate about it necessarily.
It's out there though.
Yeah.
That's important. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into what you're passionate about today. Yeah.
Let's get into it.
It's time to mash in.
So we usually like to do a little weekend update, see what everybody did. We toured a couple breweries Saturday, went out to started in Middleburg Heights, Fatheads, had a couple beers out there. My wife works literally right across the street, and so she got that Cleveland Brewery passport check-in months ago, met some friends out, but I hadn't gotten it, so we went out, had a couple beers, and then headed over to Schnitz, met some friends, and I didn't see Igor or Jerome, but I looked for him.
Did you taste their sausage?
I did get some of Igor's sausage, though.
It's probably good.
He did. I smoked some of his. Well, he smoked it, and then I ate it. The sausage. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Nice.
So that was your weekend in a nutshell?
And then Easter over at my brother's, Mike and Michelle. We, he smoked a ham. He smoked some meat, and I ate that too. A lot of smoked meat. There's a theme to this weekend.
Smoked meat in Dave's mouth.
Ah, nice.
Not too bad.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent the weekend. I took two of my boys down to Hocking Hills region.
Yeah.
Down to my parents' house and spent the week with them. Really just enjoyed friends. We went and worked out with my buddy owns a gym down there, so we worked out and hung out. And
cool.
My brother and his family were around, and my sister and her family were around. So we just did family time. It was really
That's good.
It was necessity, and it was wonderful. So just got back today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about
you, Mike?
bud?
What did I do? Took a pretty easy Saturday. Time to get the garden, start getting going in the yard. It's got some beets and onions planted.
Ooh.
Not too bad. Did Easter with my wife's folks.
Nice.
And drank some beers, smoked a cigar, had some steaks.
Ooh.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Nice.
Now that's
pretty good all
fun.
around. Cigar weather again, which I'm a huge fan of. Drinking beer outside, and it's good stuff.
When are you supposed to plant tomatoes around here?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And beets are right now.
Yeah.
Good timing for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
You could have done carrots a month ago, but I kind of drug my feet a little bit, so I
Okay.
gotta probably get those in this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gotta love it.
Cool.
How big's your garden?
It's like 150 square feet.
Well, that's pretty big.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's not bad.
Do you raise beds?
Yeah,
Nice.
3 raised beds.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Gardening's hard work. It's hard work.
Yeah, every year I'm like, do we actually you get the food for cheaper theoretically? 'Cause you're planting it from seeds, but after you do everything, you're like, I don't know, you probably should have just gone with the grocery store. Right? But it's good, it's fresh, and
It's fresh.
it tastes really great. But yeah,
You know where it came from.
yeah.
Yeah, you didn't use crazy pesticides and stuff that will rot you from the inside.
Yeah,
but,
the Roundup and shit. Try to stay away from that.
Yeah.
Now, do you eat it all raw, or do you pickle any of it?
We cook most of our vegetables. We'll do some salsas and some hot sauces, and I'll kind of jar those up. But in general, we pretty much just eat everything fresh.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
By the way, Dustin's here, Rick Bell's here, and Maria's here. She said so. Yeah,
Cool.
she's actually here.
She's actually here
Hi,
and
guys.
online.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
Yeah. So we should point this out in honor of the 100th episode. The Vamaspercies brought some champagne of beers.
Cheers.
So there we go. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Yes. All right, what's next?
It's time for the
Try
Boardwalk.
not to belch into the microphone. Jesus.
This beer will do that to you.
Yeah, it's definitely effervescent.
So we are super stoked and blessed to have Mike here today from Masthead. That's not only he is, but obviously from the brewery Masthead. And looking forward to trying some beers today, walking through some of our typical questions with you, but also just getting into what's going on in the world today. Just shooting the breeze, man.
Sure. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
thanks
were-
for having me. Yeah, really
Yeah, we're
appreciate
trying to
guys
get you
having
for a
me out.
while. It's exciting, and 100th
Yeah.
episode is momentous.
I know I felt bad, and we're all busy, and so I grabbed you, and we were having a couple beers at.
No, timing works out pretty
Yeah.
good for this, actually. This kind of was, it's pretty good.
Good.
Got him when he was half in the bag, and
Well,
I said
that's
yes.
how you
Gotta get how I can get it. Oh my goodness.
Wait, we're still talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Beer.
Yeah.
Dave,
beer. We're
beer.
talking about beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
right.
So what kind of beers did you bring today? What do we got?
What did I bring? I brought a Munichelis Augenblick. Won a gold at GABF in 2020. We brought a Springfest, some German Marzen, and then what else did I bring? IPA for Aliens, one of our West Coast IPAs that's tasting really good right now, and then some Lean West, our new as of last year double IPA.
Nice. Funny story. You want to tell the story? I don't care. We're podcasting. We'll tell it all up. This is how dedicated this gentleman is, right? So we talked about, bringing some beers to share, just kind of like talking through Masthead and really promoting Masthead too today and talking about some of the beers and kind of walking through the process of those. And he walked in, he told the story. He's like, he texted me, I'm going to be there, right on time. I had to stop and get beers. I kind of forgot him. And to me, I'm thinking he just went by the brewery and picked up some beers and whatnot. And we sit down. What happened?
Yeah, I pack my case up before I'm getting ready to leave, and on Tuesdays I have a workout at 5:10, so I have to like get out of there by 4:30, kind of sharp, to make sure I don't get stuck in traffic.
Yep.
Like, of course, I just leave the case of beer like right in the cooler, walk out the door, drive away, and then it's just like, I've done this so many times, but anyway, so I just had to pilfer whatever's in my fridge and then swing up to the corner store.
You had to buy your own beer?
Get some beer, yeah. So.
That, my friends, is why you're a rock star.
But
he had to go buy his own beer.
Luckily, the code date's all good, so I was pretty happy with that. Yeah.
It's all fresh.
Yeah.
So we get some beers that are on the shelves for you guys to try. I know they're out there in distribution, and that's exciting.
Warren Beverage right now. That's where I was at.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Warren Beverage. Check them out. So this is...
Yeah, Augenblick. Yeah, it's a Munich style Helles. Yeah, super light and crisp. Got a little bit of malt backbone, but stays pretty light. We keep the hopping pretty low.
Got some hardware on there.
But,
Yes.
Yeah, we were super happy. That was like the bright light for us in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, that was a crazy time. But time I want to talk about, because it kind of changed, some of the structure of life, right?
Totally,
and what we do now, just in terms of health and keeping things up. But cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
So what's in this beer?
Base malt's best Heidelberg, fermented with Omega yeast, maybe 107 or 109, whatever their 830 analog is. A little bit of Munich 1, a little bit of Munich 2, then a little bit of melanoid.
Nice.
Yeah, hops are just noble hops, pretty low.
It's really good.
That was great for the summer.
Yeah.
As we get further into the night, I really, talk about where grain's at today, talk about hops and the kind of the research, the forefront of hop technology, I guess you would saw it today, where you guys are headed and what that looks like. Because it's the Wild West is even more Wild West, but it's now science, a lot of science driven behind a lot of those products that are out there. And we were diving a little bit of that when we were out at where were we just Royal Docks, as they were just spitting the juice. But you guys are there. You're talking about it. You're at the conferences and all of those things. So we'll get into that a little bit. Thanks for the beer, man.
Oh yeah, no, glad I could share it. Yeah, glad you guys like it. Yeah.
So Dustin says this beer is phenomenal. Nice change of pace from high ABV IPAs.
Oh, thanks, Dustin. Definitely appreciate it.
And Rick says none of you went to Dingus Day.
No, sir.
Did not.
Yeah, I can't.
That's on
I can't
Monday,
start,
right? That's
dude.
yesterday.
I can't start my week off with a hangover on Tuesday. Like I can't do it.
No,
So
especially
I had to
when
go-
you're coming here on Tuesday.
Yeah, it just would have been.
I had
my
to
week
go
would
to-
have been shot. It would have been.
I was
terrible.
at cardiac rehab Monday morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's.
By the
Well, that
way,
shows your age or not. How you doing, by the way?
Hey, now I graduate tomorrow.
Hey.
Yes.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, I made it.
For those who didn't know, no, that's exciting, man. It's good to see the bounce back from that.
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
skinny mini getting back in health.
that's not what we're talking about here. We're getting into this beer.
So let's talk. Let's do that. Let's talk about that.
Talking about beer.
Beer and
Let's talk about beer.
yeah. When looking at where you're at today, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you, as a brewer, how did you get into brewing? What was that process for you?
Yeah, so I think this is like a super I think Gen X millennial type of thing.
Sure.
I think Gen Z has a much different life experience, but you go to college and you start off drinking Natty Light or Keystone or Busch. And you're like, oh man, this kind of sucks, but drinking beer is cool. And Miller High Life's still cool. But, and then you're eventually you're just I think there's better beer out there. So you for me it was oh okay, turn 21, you can start going to the bars. And some of my friends were a little bit older, So started drinking beers like Bell's Two Hearted and something. And you're like, dear God, this is so bitter. And then, but then you just keep after it because you don't want to be like the dork. and then eventually you're like, oh, actually, this is really good.
Yeah.
And then I think it just kind of built from there and just kind of got going. Columbus Brewing Company was making Bodhi at that time. You could find it at bars somewhat infrequently. It was just like the hops were just absolutely popping. And yeah, it just kind of kept going from there.
There you go.
We were talking about we talked to brewers that are a little bit older, more my age, maybe Matthias's age, and their gateway beers tend to be stuff like Pike Place,
Long Trail Ale was mine.
like Sierra Nevadas, things like that. But it's kind of cool, like Two Hearted, it can be somebody's gateway. Columbus Brewing Company was, we were well into beer, by the
Here
time
they love that,
Columbus-
right?
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Oh yeah,
J-Bone.
J-Bone, that's his go-to.
Well, like
IPA.
Columbus IPA was like, at the corner store up from my
Yeah.
apartment or whatever, it was like $7.99 a 6-pack bottles, and it was always fresh. So
Yeah.
you just like,
And it's great.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bodhi. When Bodhi
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah. Like Bodhi, you could find my senior year of college, you'd find it super infrequently at bars. So every time you did, you'd like text your buddies, like, "Dude, get up here right now.
Yeah.
They've got a keg of Bodhi." And,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was just tasting amazing. Drink like 10 of them.
So then you're tasting this beer. You're like, all right. Well, when did you realize I can make this?
Yeah.
When did that dawn?
So it
on
was
you?
like the summer after my first senior year.
First senior year.
first senior.
Yes.
Yeah, I just that was deliberate, first of all, but I started thinking about brewing beer. I had some other my current business partner. He was already graduated, and he got like a Mr. Beer for like Christmas or something. So he was making some beers with that. So I went on Craigslist, and I was had college broke, whatever. Found this like dude in Athens who had to sell all of his homebrew stuff. His wife was making him get rid of it. So I got like this whole all grain kit and like a bunch of books and stuff for like $200. And yeah, I got that and just started brewing beers on it.
Yeah, man.
Super fun. Yeah, it was a super fun time.
Yeah.
So the second beer I ever made was like the prototype for single origin. That we.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
How was your first beer?
Terrible.
Yeah.
It was awful. The second one was pretty good, but the
Yeah.
first
On
one
the
was
Mr. Beer?
awful. So this was on that all grain.
On the all grain system?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, that first beer, you're always like, this is really good.
It was terrible. It was like I made some sort of Belgian IPA. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. It was awful.
it was Belgian because it got some wild yeast.
Yeah, it was probably infected.
Yeah, probably infected. No, it's fun. It's how old are you, by the way?
I turned 36 this weekend.
Nice. So
yeah.
10, and almost 10.
Almost 10. Yeah.
It's a cool conversation, right? Because we're talking about Columbus. We were around when they were just in their infancy. You're like, oh, cool. But you go down there and it was just a restaurant because they weren't kind of connected to the brewery, but they kind of were, and then they kind of had a little falling out and the whole nine.
Yeah, the whole thing was weird. Like
It's
nobody
crazy.
nobody that I knew at the time knew anything of what was going on with that. Like it was just very odd.
No, and we were, I knew those guys, and so we're talking through the process, and it was nuts. But their beers were on the shelves, and they were killing it
Oh,
in the
so good.
IPA
Yeah.
game,
Yeah,
right?
they're so good.
I'm like, how are you doing this? And
They
they're
still
like-
are, but they're
No.
at the time it was just like no.
And they
one
didn't
else
even know
was
what they were
that.
doing.
Yeah.
And the beers were,
They were
Well, I
great.
feel like
compared to today.
Tony sort of did.
He did.
He came from the West Coast.
Yes.
Or went to the West Coast, came
Yeah.
back, and
But like today, though, like to get in such a wide market distribution as fast as they did, and as small as they were, and as I'm not gonna say divided, but
Sure.
divided as they were,
Yeah.
and it turned out to be a wonderful product. And you're like, this is freaking great.
Yeah.
And they set the tone for them for that style in the market.
for
They
sure.
really did. And then Bodhi came out, and you're like, oh,
I know.
well played. I love you.
Yeah, there was early beer fest, and they would do the coconut Bodhi and the Bodhi with the sparkles in it, and it was like, ooh, like, it doesn't taste any different. It's got sparkles in it.
worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Worth it.
It is worth it. It is worth it.
Yeah.
My speaking of sparkles, we did that
I can't imagine where this is going.
There's a lot of places it could go. We're going to hold tight to this story. So, we did that Pink Boots in Lorraine County. We did that Hoppy Mermaid Kisses.
Yeah.
And it's a killer beer. It's on now and everywhere. But unbeknownst to me, I come into the brewery and the ladies who made it were serving it with a little bit of glitter. I was like, cool. Well done. Cool. Looked awesome. It was great. Didn't change anything. It just they're awesome. So there's your glitter.
I know. Well, any situation you can put glitter into, I think you should take advantage.
Any situation.
Any situation.
That might be a little bit too far, but
Nope,
it can be useful in a number of situations.
Dustin says Bell's Too Hard is exactly what got him out of Natty and Bud Light.
Yeah, there you go, man. That's what it is.
And
Another beer that's still awesome today.
Awesome today.
You know,
and I think that people in that mid-30s range will say that a lot of them would have to be their gateway beer because that beer was at every single bar in our area.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
Across the state.
Yeah. And it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. And so what we got now?
Definitely.
Yes, we're moving on.
Springfest is. I mean, the thing is, we love Oktoberfest all year, so we come up with reasons to brew Oktoberfest style beers out this season. But this is Springfest, a German style Marzen.
Mm-hmm.
We entered this in World Beer Cup.
Yep.
But I think it's pretty tasty.
Let's go for it.
Good malt backbone.
Yeah, that's nice.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And this is also in distribution rotation?
Yeah, it's. I mean, we didn't see super wide distribution, but they, Premium got a little bit and put it out there to some good places.
Speaking of distribution, I know we're going to jump off these questions real quick. What's the outlook, man? I know your whole group are numbers people, right? When it comes to that forecasting, looking at the cans, and Matt's been saying his piece online, pretty hardcore. But what does it look like for you in your game?
Yeah, so I tend to be a glass half full guy.
Sure.
All the time.
Same.
So I'm certainly not as aggressively concerned as Matt is. I don't think. We also don't quite have the size of operation where little things hit you quite as hard. I think malt isn't going to be affected by the tariffs. So malt is currently malt is exempt. So
I've been saying that,
whatever
people.
happens there, malt's going to be fine.
No one listens.
The cans might go up a penny or two a can, and it sucks when you're doing millions of cans, but also it's not the end of the world.
Sure.
See,
I'll get you some cans.
And also things have come since COVID. Things have come back down.
Sure.
So cans will probably just go back to the same price they were during COVID, and we all canned a bunch of beer then.
We sure did. It's all we did.
And malt's come down considerably. So part of that wasn't really COVID related. It was more climate related.
Yep.
But the last couple malt crops have been really bumper crops, so malt's coming down even more. And the quality's been really, really high as well. I don't know if you've noticed that, but our yields have been awesome.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think it's all going to work out.
I do too.
Hops are coming down in price right now. I think we're going to be in good shape. And quality's really been high there too. So
you heard it here, everybody.
I think we're going to be okay.
Don't worry.
The man's telling you, don't worry. Don't worry. And it's good. It's just and that's been the thing that people are concerned, right? Yeah. And we hear it in all four of the breweries as people come in and they just want to talk and we're not changing the price of our food. We're not changing the price of our beer. We're not. I mean, for us, it's just the kind of status quo, and I don't see that much changing, as far as I can see. And people are like, oh no, and the world's ending, and no.
Yeah, it's not worth to me. It's those forces I have no control over them anyways. But we'll deal with it as it comes. But from what I've seen, I think we're all gonna be fine.
Just don't look at your retirement accounts right now.
Just don't look at them.
Just don't look at them. Yeah.
So you're playing for the long game.
Yeah, you should look at them really anyways on a daily basis because you're gonna have bad days. I mean,
yeah, you're not kidding.
Although I was in Costco over the weekend and I'm like, I've got to buy more of the stock. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this place.
Oh no,
dude, I got to buy as much of it as I can.
Yeah. Yes, you're not wrong. So you had some craft beer and you got a Mr. Beer kit, which we all have done. And
So my kit was my business partner Frank had.
Yeah,
a Mr.
Frank
Beer.
had one.
Mine was just all grain.
Yeah. So then you went to the all grain, right? And then what would that look like for you? How long did you do that before you said? And where were you working at the time? What were you doing as a
Well, so
profession?
I was still a student, but I was in electrical. I was getting an electrical engineering degree, and I'd had some internships with American Electric Power,
Sure.
Both in Texas and Columbus. And I was doing a couple things there. And I was at the point where I most certainly did not want to be an engineer permanently, at least like in a cube jungle, you know?
Sure.
So, sorry. So, yeah, it just seemed like the craft beer was kind of starting its build at that time. The breweries that were popping up in Columbus were kind of cool. I just saw that as kind of the future.
Yep.
So, super into it.
Nice.
And knew that I was going to turn this job offer down and just go that direction.
It's bold. It's a bold move.
Yeah.
That is a bold move. So where are you from originally?
I'm from Toledo. Yeah. Sylvania.
Okay,
specifically.
Sylvania. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. And you went to school at Ohio State?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then when that happened and you went through your second senior year and you decided you weren't going to be a electrical engineer anymore, where'd you go? What was your first stop?
Yeah, so I kind of like email, it was like email and call like every brewery you knew of, try to get a job. Nobody was like really, picking up necessarily. It's kind of a difficult thing to break into, it felt like. So I met this dude at a beer fest named Dan Myers, who I think he's still working on getting Hosters going again. So he had bought Hosters in Crooked River out of bankruptcy, and he had Jerome at Black Box brewing Crooked River up in Cleveland.
Yep.
So he put me in touch with Jerome, and I just was like persistent enough. I called him like every day for like 2 months until he like brought me in for an interview and just like hired me on the spot. So I went up there. I moved to Cleveland. Got a place off Craigslist or whatever with like roommates that ended up being really cool, surprisingly, and which was great because it was like $300 a month.
That's great.
You didn't get
And
murdered.
we were taking a job for $10 an hour, like you need a place at $300 a month.
And you didn't get murdered.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were cool. So yeah, started working at Black Box. It was kind of like a trial by fire thing. It was just like pretty much immediately or within like a couple short months.
Sure.
Yeah, you're just gonna like kind of run all this.
Sure.
All right. At least on the production side,
Yep.
like he was still doing the purchasing and stuff and the bottling, but the brewing and cellaring was kind of my thing.
What year was that?
That was 2012. No, 2013. 2013. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And that's when I met you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Black Box was where we picked up a lot of some of our grain from him.
Yeah.
And some just occasional on the fly hops because he wasn't always stocked with things, or even yeast, by the way.
Look,
But if I needed a quick
Yeah,
run
it's
for
stuff.
if I had a quick run for a smack pack,
Yeah.
I'd call him. How fresh is it? Where's it at? We come over and hang out, and that's kind of where I met you.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, and as we kind of processed that through, it's a. So Black Box, by the way, if you don't know, you want to tell the story of Black Box, where they're at?
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't exist
No, it
anymore.
doesn't exist
But
anymore.
it was like it was
most
a
older guys
small
know.
production brewery in Westlake.
Yep.
Like in that weird building that had like, shit, I forget what that restaurant was called, but
Yeah, a little homebrew shop up front.
yeah, there was Mally's was there,
Yeah,
and there was another restaurant there that was weird.
Yeah, in the
like
front.
Salon.
and they were around the back by the salon.
Yeah.
There's the door
Yeah.
with a wine shop and a homebrew store.
Yeah. And he also
So-
had the winery in the basement.
The winery in
like
the basement.
Richard was down there making cider.
Yeah.
Like,
So Griffin Cider was
Yeah.
birthed from that basement,
yeah.
and
Yeah, Tom-
Masthead was birthed from
Tom's
the
got
upstairs.
Tom's got a plumber's crack shirt.
Whoa!
Yeah.
His shirt's tucked
Dude,
in.
that
there.
shirt was wild. Like, just
Plumber's crack.
dude's ass hanging out on the
Yeah,
back of the
yeah,
shirt.
that's-
Like,
Man.
oh,
He
God,
did.
That was funny.
Yeah, and you went to I think it was in 13 or so down to Athens for the Pawpaw Fest.
I never went to the
You didn't go
Pop-Up
to
Fest. I brewed the beer, but
Yeah.
Jerome went down there. He would go down there and do the fest.
Which, talk about from the land, that pawpaw is just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, those were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They grow wild down there.
Yeah. I think the beers were like probably all infected, but I was like dumping this shit into a fermenter. I'm like, oh, dude, the micro on this has to be outrageous.
I mean, it lasted for the show,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's about
Yeah.
all it went, right?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the first, look at old school breweries in Cleveland, that 2010 to 2016 ish era, right? It was about when they were done.
2015.
2015. Yeah. And that's kind of how we got some of our start, is that we worked with Black Box, and we're going to actually. He was one of our original members of our business plan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Just the idea of consulting and conversation, and we were going to buy some of the stuff and work through that process. It didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
But, just as we kind of were talking for a year or so,
Sure.
Just kind of, Jerome Welliver right there on the sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, good dude. But
Yeah, good dude. But have you talked to him recently?
I saw him a couple years ago.
ago?
Yeah.
I have not, and it's been a minute. But Jerome, if you're watching, you're probably not, but
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, he's still got the chickens out back, and his kids are doing really well.
Yeah.
I think they're all both graduated now.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's a lot of fun. Right there in Westlake. So there you go. So that was your first job
Yeah.
in brewing world.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you get down the road a little bit, and then how did the transition to Masthead start? You're like, I want to do this myself. I want to.
Yeah, I kind of knew that we wanted to. Frank and I knew we wanted to. So we were roommates in college. He graduated a couple years ahead of me. He was doing the engineering thing. He was like an industrial engineer for Procter and Gamble full time, and we both knew that we wanted to start a brewery at some point. Oh, thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Picture of Jerome and Maria back in 2015
Oh, jeez. Check this
at
out.
the Winter Warmer.
Oh yeah. His
With our
beard was
plumber's crack shirts
legendary.
on.
Legend. You probably can't see this. We're going to show it anyway.
That was 2000.
Tom
Oh,
takes
wow.
pictures of his wife with other guys. Push the button, because that's going to be a reel.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I'm sure that'll come
Look
up.
at her face. She's red. I love you. You're wonderful.
Yeah, my face has been red like the whole time. So maybe, I don't know.
No, hers is. That's fun.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I've been red for 20 minutes now or whatever. Really good. So I mean, it's all good.
Yeah.
Um,
So let's talk through that, right? So you're working there,
Yeah.
brewing the beer.
Yeah, so I knew there was like a timeline with which we were going to be ready to do something. It was just like getting enough knowledge and skills and understanding to kind of like take the next step or whatever. So yeah, we got to the right point where he and his wife were ready to move to Cleveland. Started putting boots down in buildings, working with banks, talking to real estate agents, all this other stuff, all this stuff, the like least glamorous part of to get you to the point where you can make beer. So yeah, it took us. We started looking at buildings, I want to say, in 2015, and it took us about a year to find a building that was going to be suitable and get everybody comfortable with the business plan, with the idea. We added a third partner at that time. His name's Matt, and he's a finance guy. He still works for the Cleveland Clinic, so he doesn't work day to day at the brewery. But yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He works at the Cleveland Clinic.
Oh, okay. But yeah, super good dude. Definitely was, it was critical for us to add someone who gave us
Sure.
legitimacy on the
Yeah.
finance side,
now, did you want to be in downtown Cleveland or close to?
Yeah, we always wanted to be like somewhere in sort of the heart of things.
Okay.
Yeah, we just saw a lot of value there.
Yeah, for sure.
I think just like we've really we're bought into the idea that like Cleveland was a city kind of on the rise. So being in a spot where you get a lot of activity was cool for us.
It is a good location because there is lots of parking. I mean,
Yeah.
you can always find something. You get a little
Yeah, on
closer
game
down there,
days, it kind of gets a little weirder,
little-
but that's kind
yeah.
of going to happen no matter what. So,
right?
like,
No matter where you are, yeah.
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So looking at Cleveland being in that 2014, 2016 range, up and coming city, which
Yeah.
it did what it's supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
In the beer world, right? Going from 2014, 13 breweries, maybe or so in the greater Cleveland area.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
around there.
low.
Yeah.
To see that wave elsewhere coming out of direction, great timing.
Yeah.
So what? Again, let's talk about the building, right?
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. And then the
Yeah,
name,
we got super lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
we were just very fortunate. The landlord who owned the building at the time was really amicable to what we wanted to do with it. So really worked out good.
cool. So why
We
Masthead?
signed We started demo before we had a lease done. You know what I mean? Like,
Don't
man, it's things that you
don't
probably
we
shouldn't
all?
do,
But we don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Never
Avon.
done that, actually.
Never.
Won't do it again.
No,
Won't do it again. That's true.
Yeah.
I hear that. So why Masthead? What was the thought process behind the name and the logo?
Yeah, I
not
mean,
just what's on the website, but like let's just talk through the process.
yeah, I mean, finding a name was like pretty difficult. We felt like we had a ton of like working names over the years, but there's millions of breweries, right?
Sure.
So and millions of beers. So at a certain point, you have to. It takes a little bit to try to differentiate yourself, but we also wanted something that tied us to Cleveland in a way that maybe wasn't like super like oblique, like, but something that was just like reference Cleveland's history without being too on the nose. So that sort of story that's on the website, I think Matt was the one who came up with it. He pulled that story up, and it was just kind of like we were like, yeah, I think that's it.
Nice.
But that idea that somebody renamed the city at some point
Sure.
over their business, over the newspaper, the Cleveland Advertiser, like 30 years after its founding. It was just like a really cool idea, cool story. It was like, dude, these dudes had to drink a bunch of beers to come up with that. like for that to be the solution, like you had to drink a ton of beers.
And that's what you do sometimes. You drink some beers to come
We
up
thought
with a
that was
name.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What were some of the other names that you thought about?
There were so many.
Oh,
There
throw
were so
one
many.
out there.
Dude, there were so
Give people a little bit of juice.
Dude, there were so many.
No.
I don't even. It's
It's probably hard to remember.
yeah. I mean, it was like, dude, it was like a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That was like 1,000 cells that were like
Yep.
graded by each person,
Yep.
like low, medium, high. And
Like, oh my God, this sucks.
It is hard,
Yeah.
and sometimes doing beer names are hard too. I mean, looking at what's out there, and
oh, it's super. Yeah.
So how do you guys do that? What's your process for naming beers? Early and then now.
So like originally when we opened, we actually were just gonna like name. We're gonna use sort of the free model of just naming the beers the style.
Yep.
And so
Venture
like,
IPA.
So like IPA is still IPA. I don't think that idea like resonated in our region as well as it probably did
Sure.
for them out there, and that's okay. And our thought then was like the beer will kind of just speak for itself. But I think we came to the conclusion that people like names.
Mm-hmm.
It helps differentiate you. People think it's funny or interesting or whatever. So the process for like a core beer that's going to be on the shelf for all year or a large portion of the year is a little bit different than like just a one-off. On a one-off, it's just like we might just like kind of brainstorm it and just get all the brewers together, like
Yep.
Dave and Tucker from the sales side or Liz from marketing, and just whoever has the best idea will just kind of roll with it, assuming it's not a name that's taken by in a big
Someone
way.
close,
Look, if it's someone that's like out in Montana and they have like a small tap room and it's gonna be a one-off beer, we're not gonna brew it out. Just like
Yeah, it's fine.
kind of roll with it if it's a good name. But if it's gonna be year-round beer, obviously we want to make sure that it's
Sure.
It's,
And you can
it's
package
unique.
it and put it on shelves,
Yeah.
whatever.
And in that, there's a little more of an intense sort of process of like, doing a round of names. All right, how do we let it sit for a bit? Do another round of names. Let it sit for a bit. We want a name that's going to like at least describe the beer in some way. So I think about like Lean West. Like at the time we were drinking a lot of West Coast IPAs out in Oregon, Washington, California, and so the idea is like kind of going from what we were learning there and the guys we were talking to and drinking beers with and
Yep.
learning from, and then bringing it like back to Ohio and just leaning west a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's a cool name.
Yeah.
I gotta.
Whereas IPA for Aliens was like I don't know. I just wanted to call
It's
it beer that
fun.
for a while.
Yeah.
But also like I think like Ryan guys had it was like beer for humans.
We're
or
hanging out.
something.
It did.
And I was like,
for aliens.
all right, well we're gonna make IPA for Aliens.
Which
Yeah.
it's fun.
All right, I got. We're talking about naming beers. I got to play you this reel that we did.
I hope, did that answer the question? Good
Yeah,
enough? I don't know.
totally
It's
great.
like it's kind of
No.
a nebulous process. Because
It
it
is.
can kind of go different ways with different
Yep.
beers. And like sometimes someone will say a name and everybody's just like,
Sure.
that's it. Like,
There's follow-up questions to that
talking,
too, but I think
yeah.
Dave is ready to roll with something else.
okay.
Check this out.
We're hiking through the woods. We're trying to come up with a good name for this beer. We're having a great time. We're laughing at everything, and we get back and we're on a porch, and there's a little whiteboard in front of me, and I have a marker, and he's sitting on the couch. He's got a guitar in his hands, and I'm like, dude, we gotta get a name, man. We're so close. And I don't really like pushing for names like that. Usually it comes naturally. It was like, that's the name. And I'm like, dude, just play me some music. I'll come up with a name. And he looks at the guitar and he goes, I can't play, man. I have jelly arms. And I'm like, that's it. That's it. You just did it.
That's how you name a beer.
Hey,
Drink a lot of beer and force it.
can work.
Or just shows up.
It can work.
That's fun.
Anyway,
Ooh, speaking of aliens, right? This is your IPA for aliens?
Yeah.
What we got here? Ooh, look at this. More hardware on the bronze 04, 24.
Yeah. That says
that
last
was
year.
recent.
Talk about this beer with us.
Yeah, hops are Citrus, Citrocryo, Nectaron, and Centennial.
I love Nectaron, by the way.
Yeah, at the time we were building it,
Yeah.
we had just started really like using Nectaron in a real way, and we kind of wanted to build a West Coast IPA around it. Keep the malt bill like super pared back, mostly just Canadian Pilsner.
Yep.
You know, super pale, no caramel malt,
Yep.
and just attenuate it pretty heavily. It's just got like a bittering charge and a whirlpool charge, and then which is like kind of what all the West Coast people are doing with their IPAs now, and then 2 dry hops, a dry hop towards the end of fermentation, and a dry hop after fermentation. But,
No, and this is the way to make West Coast
That's how
IPAs
it's on
now.
the West Coast.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and
but trying to get a beer that has a big hoppy punch, but then just like comes clean off the palate.
Sure. And I love Nectaron so much because of what it can bring to the table on either for us in a hoppy pills or, you know,
Yeah.
or in
super
a
good
West
there.
Coast
Yeah.
or in a hazy. I mean, it's just,
That's super versatile, but
Super
it adds
versatile.
like a little bit of a twang that you
Yeah.
don't get from an American hop, maybe.
yep,
So it's really nice
dig
layered
it.
in with some other like more traditional hops.
yep.
And it works well on its own too. You can make a beer that's all Nectaron. That'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
great. You know, can do a lot for you.
Yep. This is a good beer.
Dig
Yeah.
it.
And
7.8,
7.2.
just under. Okay.
Yeah, 7.2.
Yeah. So 7.
So kind of at the higher end of the
Yeah,
of the
7.2.
IPA range,
Yep.
but not like, you know, pegging the top or anything.
Sure. And I've noticed as hops have progressed and grains have progressed, right? That sweet spot has changed in
Sure.
terms
Yeah.
of maybe one time was pushing 8-ish,
Yeah.
is now in that 7.2 range.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hazies too. I mean, people were always rolling those 8.5 hazies.
Yeah.
And again, you're seeing that 6.5 to 7 range of just that sweet spot of,
Yeah. We're still seeing a bit of demand in the 8s. You know, there are people
there.
who just love the beers at that sort of strength, at that sort of density. But yeah, I like them. I personally like them a little lower. You can drink more of them.
Yes.
On your ass.
That's the goal.
Yeah, some of the
New
guys, a lot of the
change.
guys on the West Coast are going down to even like 6.5
Yep.
and 6. They're like they're really paring back.
Yeah, I was just out in Seattle for a conference for a week a couple weeks ago, and same thing.
Yeah.
You know, so one thing that's crazy about Washington, right? Talk about work and labor and all that stuff. You know, my job outside of brewing is I'm the workforce development strategist for the county, and out there for this conference. And Washington, you can't work under the age of 18.
What?
Right? You mentioned Costco.
What?
Not at all.
What? Right? No. Right?
Like
It's crazy.
16.
And so, like, and that's why I said, I mean,
Yeah, was
I have
all caddying
16.
at like 13.
So I have 4,
Get to work.
right now I have 4 16-year-olds that are in their second year of high school who are working full-time this summer in the manufacturing world making $22.50 an hour.
That's great.
Right? And that's not abnormal, right? Because they're trained, right? They have some stackable credentials under their belt. But looking out there, Costco's also, you said that earlier, but Costco's also centered out of Washington.
Yeah.
It's such a stringent market that when they buy all that produce, because Washington's also known for
Yeah, Yakima Valley.
fruit, Rocky Valley, all their fruit, right? That they actually have people from Costco who have access to all their books and their labor records. And if they find out they have somebody who's not a family member working under the age of 18 for a certain amount of hours, they will not buy the entire shipment.
Really?
Send it right back. I was like, you've got to
Wow.
be kidding me. Talk about So there's your barriers to success, people.
That's insane.
Not the
Yeah,
price of
it's,
hops.
I
It's
mean,
nuts.
it's valuable to get out in the workforce and get some experience.
I just thought it was a
mean,
fun
just-
story.
Yeah, by the time you're 16, you can drive. Like, you know, you got to do something, right? Like,
Yeah, and
if I wasn't working, I would just play video games like all day.
Sure.
You know, like at 16.
yeah, and these kids are in
know.
trade school, right? So
Yeah. Sure.
they're already under a learning agreement with their again stackable credentials. We're looking at what that looks like, and so they're not just out there child labor in the workforce, right? It's legit skilled labor already.
No, just to be clear, everybody, we're not advocating for like 6-year-olds to go back to the coal mines. You know, like, let's just be very clear here.
16
before people are like
is
jump on us.
a
over
They
here.
got small
difference.
hands. They can get
Yeah.
in,
I
They
mean,
can
look,
get inside. They can.
polish those things.
You got to get to the bottom of the clean it.
Yeah.
Gotta have tiny
Get
hands.
in that tank and clean it out. Work in the brewery.
Dude, we got Kenny Pickett for that. Like once, you know,
Kenny Pickett, welcome to Cleveland, baby. Let's go.
I don't mean any. You know, Kenny, if you're watching, I know you're not, but
Yeah.
You might
don't-
someday.
we don't mean any shade.
We love
No
you.
disrespect.
you should come
Welcome.
down and have some beers.
Yeah, let us know first. Maybe we'll come and hang out. Speaking of brownies, we're just running off the cuff here.
Dude, draft Thursday.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having a big draft party. We're donating a huge portion of our profits to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society on Thursday, but at all of our locations.
It's awesome.
But the Browns, man, what are we going to do? Because you look at who we picked up, right, between Kenny Pickett, potential starter, we brought back.
Did you say brownies?
Oh,
Look what Maria made.
here we go, brownies. Here we go.
Oh shit.
In honor of the 100th episode. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Anyway, you said brownies, so I had to
No, it's wonderful.
shout her out.
So we have Kenny Pickett. We brought back the rocket arm.
Dude, the Elite Dragon.
So looking at what we have in the room, as much as we play that computer-based small ball mindset when we looked at the draft, there has to be a reason when they brought in both of those two guys. Who do you think we're looking towards as quarterback?
So I think I don't know that I agree with this, but I think they're going to take Jalen Milroe.
That's what I've heard.
I think they're going to trade back into the first round to get him.
This, our second pick.
Yeah.
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 You don't think we're gonna?
Yeah,
So,
I don't-
but-
I'm just
but-
saying what I think they're doing. I'm not.
I hear you, but why would we bring in those two guys to be the leaders of Milroe? Totally different quarterback. Other than being the Browns.
Beggars can't be choosers, man. Like,
Beggars.
at a
So
certain
that's
point-
where we're sitting. There's no real rhyme or reason.
Dude, I think you just got the two guys that you could get. Okay, like I don't, dude.
Fair. I was hoping there's actually a plan that maybe we're looking to go back even further and maybe get Howard or.
And you might be right, dude. Don't get me wrong. You might.
I
be
don't
right
know.
there.
I don't know. I'm just talking
Howard or
smack. I haven't-
Capricorn.
Yeah.
Like that would be an interesting like third or fourth round
Possible,
option.
right? Possibility.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if they have the same small hands as Kenny.
Jalen Milroe has small
I
hands.
know,
It's
that's
like
a
8.5 inch
fucking-
hands, man. This is kind of outrageous for a quarterback in the
8.5 inch
freaking
hands.
National Football League, but
Ooh.
Yep. I hear it.
What do you look at your wife back there talking about the size of your people's hands? She's like, yep, I
She's got
believe
stuff
it.
to say. Yeah,
She has stuff to say. She's a sports fanatic.
she is, but for the Stillers.
See, small hands. They're talking about it. Small hands mean what?
yeah, small gloves.
Women probably beg to differ with that.
Oh, snap.
It's fine. So, looking
But they're
at
definitely taking Travis Hunter at 2 because Barry loves DBs so much that it's
But-
outrageous how much that dude loves DBs.
he does, except for we just signed another DB, and they told him he's going to be told the world supposedly that he's going to be playing wide receiver number 1.
And I think that's probably what
think
well, that's
so
what they
too.
should do
That-
for sure. Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I think it's kind of
Like
fun.
I don't need that dude tackling Derrick Henry. Okay, like I don't,
No.
yeah,
No offense, Travis.
yeah. Tough dude. Don't get me wrong.
You are tough, and you did stick somebody there in the big game. What was that noise?
I'm just playing sound effects. That was the bong rip.
He's in
That
the
was-
corner doing his own thing.
Yeah.
That's in honor of 420.
He has nothing to contribute to this.
Yeah, I got nothing to say to that.
He's just having fun.
He's just like sports cabal. I'm out.
Horrible.
Peace. So Dave, I'll lob you one. Then let's get back on the track. When looking at,
I got small hands too. I don't know. I can't.
she said small
Not
gloves.
small, honey.
Oh,
Well, you should go to tryouts and see if you can be the Browns' third quarterback on the roster.
she said it's not small.
I might be able to make it. I'm
Kenny
fast.
Pickett is. He wears the gloves, double gloves.
Yeah.
Double gloves.
He does.
Well, sometimes you got to double glove it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Am I wrong?
You're not. Welcome to the 100th show, everybody.
Oh,
So
Let's hope there's a 101.
you chose downtown. You chose the name Masthead, right?
Yeah.
What was then the vision for what you wanted to put out to the market?
Yeah.
Beer wise, product wise, vibe, all the stuff.
Yeah, so at the beginning, we knew we wanted to be pretty IPA focused. Like you probably guessed based on the beers that got me into craft beer that they were mostly IPAs. At the same kind of time, I was also drinking a lot of Belgian beers.
Sure.
We were getting still great imports, and we still do. Trappist beers, but. So I was super interested. We also had the interest in making Belgian beer as well.
Sure.
Sadly, the market does not want
does not
Belgian
love it.
beer in any way, shape, or form. Be like, dear God, do not make Belgian beer if you want to sell it. So
I like it.
Yeah,
I love a Belgian.
no doubt. But it does not sell in the market.
It does not.
So that was we figured that out pretty quickly, and that was okay.
Yeah.
It's whatever. The market take and give and take.
Yeah.
So we started to really fall in love with lager beer at the time as well, and not that we didn't like them before, but the market is cool enough with lager
is,
beer, at
for
least
sure.
in the tap room. It
It
does
is.
really well. So super IPA focused, and then coffee stout was always going to be one of our main beers. And
Single
then-
orange is bomb.
Oh,
People
thanks so
love
much.
it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a great
I
beer.
really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man.
And then just sort of like filling in the gaps with lager.
Good.
Can we talk about the Underverse line
Yeah.
of?
See?
I mean,
Yes.
I mean those beers. What were we downtown for? We were sat at Masthead, and I think we had every beer on the tap. Oh, before Steel Panther.
Before Steel Panther.
So we're drinking 9, 10, 12%
I will
Underverse.
give you the stars in the sky.
And then we went to the
Too
Steel
far
Panther show.
away. Yeah.
We can't play it because we'll get
Get
a
in trouble.
ding. Yeah, but
you're
yeah,
getting copyright
we sat there
strikes.
and
We
we
did.
drank.
Sing it too much, you might get them.
Good
These
day.
days, dude, AI, it's gonna
Yeah.
get you.
Yep.
Um,
No, but it I love the vision of what you're doing. We love your beer, right?
Oh, thanks so much.
But when you look at that one-off side with the little unicorn and the rainbow and the names and the fun side, story, that's really cool, right?
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's fun.
Let's talk about that. What was that process like? Why did you do that? Is that
One trick
staying
pony.
around?
We got called a one trick pony when we started. We started making hazy beer towards the end of 2017, maybe like October. September, maybe we brewed them in September, released in October 2017, our first year. And so we were getting called a one trick pony. So we made a beer called One Trick Pony. I think like I'm very pro just in life generally.
Yeah.
If someone's going to use something as an insult, then just own it.
Sure.
Lean into
And
it.
then all of a
Yeah.
sudden that takes the wind out of their sails.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just think that's just a good way to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of our thought there, and that just kind of opened up some new, just sort of fun things for us to do.
Sure, man. In that line of One Trick Pony.
Yeah.
I think that Cleveland had yet to have that version of One Trick Pony, right, until you did it. And I think we talked about that. Like, dude, somebody has to do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be me because that's not my business model.
Yeah.
Like, you need to step up to the plate and do this for everybody. People need to be waiting in line for a beer in Cleveland. It needs to be you.
Yeah, we had fun with it.
Yeah,
It
I was
super
all
fun.
about it. I was like, man, you have to do this. And I think that's important. was cool.
Yeah, we had a ton of fun with it.
Yeah.
And we still do.
Still do, right? People
Yeah.
still do the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lions don't. COVID kind of like ended line culture, which was maybe for the best.
Sure,
mean,
I agree.
But overall, it's still like we still have a lot of like core,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so a lot of the same folks, core people are still coming back and buying the beers.
Pre-sale.
Yeah, but it's fun, man. People like it, you know. Like,
But that
and they
line
wanna
culture
support
was
you.
so fun. Like
So
in
fun.
those days, like the early days, that was the most fun. Like you got to know a lot of the regulars
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the guys who would get bar seats on the release, and it was really cool.
Brewery owner who was standing in line for my friends just because it was a great time.
Dude, all those Lorraine guys, man.
Yeah.
We'd come right out just for fun.
The Lorraine,
you know?
Lorraine crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because it was neat. I think that was Hector and yeah,
Mike Ballou.
Mike. He's
Shout out to
hilarious, man.
Yeah.
What's
Keto,
this?
I don't know if Keto's listening.
He does watch occasionally.
Yeah.
He goes west now.
Yeah,
a
Dustin
lot.
says he spent many a Saturday morning waiting in those lines to get tickets.
Oh, he goes to Cos.
He goes to cosplays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaning west.
But
Yeah.
but COD, that's his now.
yeah,
That's what he does. He
Yeah, they do a
does
good
those
job.
releases and
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much.
so that's pretty neat. So when looking at that, how do you differentiate your beer, right? Go from across the board, lagers through the single origin, and then your hazy versions, right, and your IPAs. How do you differentiate your beers from other breweries? Like, what's that look like?
I mean, for us, we just really try to make beers we want to drink. We have a really good. We have just a really good team. You know, for me, I'd say selfishly the best team, but a lot of breweries in town have really good teams as well. Don't get me wrong, but like our
do have a good team.
our team's spectacular, and we just kind of drink. We try to make beers that we want to drink. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
my
I
flaw.
mean,
It's just
Yeah.
we drink beer, we make beer we want to drink
yeah.
in that style and that process, and I think you're going to enjoy it.
And look, and not every beer is going to be a home run
Sure.
anyways, so it's okay if you have a beer that isn't the most well-received beer ever. But yeah, I think that's just like our core culture. is-
Now, how many beers do you guys keep on tap in the tap room there?
We might have like 20 on right now.
Yeah.
It fluctuates, I'd say, between like 14 and 20.
Okay.
You know, we just put in a new 4-tap kegerator
Nice.
at the end of last year for just 4 barrel-aged beers. So we can always have 4 barrel-aged beers in there in sixtels. And then we also keep that cooler a little warmer. So we keep that more like 45, 48.
Okay.
So people are getting that beer a little warmer.
Yep.
It's a little brighter. It's not like quite ice cold like it would come from the
Sure.
other cooler.
And I appreciate that about what you guys do because I think that you're killing the barrel game right now.
Yeah, thanks so much. And that was another thing we always like wanted to do the barrel
Sure.
aged beer, but as a small brewery just starting out, there's a lot of barrel management, and figuring out what you're going to do with all these barrels and tasting them and stuff. So bringing on Clark in 2020 was really sort of where we could have someone who could come take that vision and kind of run with it. You know,
And Clark's done a great job.
absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, no,
just
he's one of
to
the best.
oversee that and to know that all of those styles that you put out are just crushing it.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah,
great.
and
Good
then
team.
on the food pairing side, you guys have that killer pizza oven. I mean, the pizzas are the bomb. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the you got some salads, and I just get pizza. I don't really know anything about salads. Not into salads.
You should.
I should.
Now that you're graduating.
I should be. I'm graduating, so
Yeah, you can only eat so much pizza.
yeah,
But
yeah.
salad's a nice way to break it up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, get a little greens in there.
Throw some steak on there. Beet salad with steak. Quite good.
Yeah.
So what's next for Masthead in terms of what's on the horizon?
I don't know. I think this is an interesting time in the industry where I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like it's a good time for us to just kind of sit and see where the industry goes in the next like 2 years and how, all this stuff shakes out. We've had a few ideas. We're keeping a couple of them kind of close to the vest right now.
Which is good.
But overall, I think just like staying the course, making sure we're making as good a beer as we can possibly make, keeping quality really high. Brewing definitely more West Coast IPA. Trying to brew more West Coast IPA for sure. But yeah, just kind of staying the course for a little bit and seeing where the industry goes.
Nice. And I think people come to the tap room. You can go.
I was going to say we haven't really talked about this beer.
Yeah.
This
He did mention it. Lean West.
briefly.
Great name, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I'll read this for you. It's 8%. Every fall, we spend significant time in the Pacific Northwest meeting up with hop growers, which you do,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Assessing the harvest, picking the choicest hops in the world, and sharing great beers and ideas with other brewers, which you do. Thank you very much. When designing this beer, we leaned on those experiences to brew a double IPA in the West Coast style. Lean West features a refined bitterness, followed by notes of stone fruit, orange zest, and mango. Expect a crisp finish that lifts off the palate after every sip. Let's
That's
see.
perfect. That's a perfect description.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's Lean West. See, that's today's West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
And it's bomb. When you look at the taproom sales, right? What do you think your number one lager, your number one seller, or your lightest beer?
Yeah, whatever the lightest beer
Yep.
sells pretty well. Wit sells actually really well in the tap room.
Yep.
I mean, the amalgamation of IPAs sells better.
Sure.
But it's like when you have 6 IPAs
Yep.
on, that's kind of expected. You
Sure.
know, that each individual one isn't going to outsell, shower beer if it's on. But
Sure.
Shower
Great name.
That is a
Everybody
great
does shower
that
beers,
was
so it's
Josh-
fun
that
to
was
have.
Josh.
One. Yeah.
But yeah, Josh came up with that one. It's a Canadian band
Yeah.
he really likes. They have a beer called, I think they have a song called Shower
Shower
Beer.
beer.
Yeah, that's great.
But lager, a wit, or that kind of mid-row, whatever it is, red, wit, whatever people kind of gravitate towards, and then that the style has moved from hazy number 3 in our world to whatever West Coast you have on tap,
Yeah.
right? And so you put those together in a category,
Yeah.
hold that line for us, and then it's hazy. So and those sell the most of anything else. So that has been the case for us across the board in all of our establishments. So is that how you see it with you too?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think there are just like a cohort of people that just like wheat beer
Sure.
in general. So they're just going to drink a wheat beer if it's available. So
Yep.
like Wit does that for us. It doesn't do that well in the market,
Sure.
which is okay, but it does really well in the tap room. So you just kind of have to
Kind of brew it, and put it on.
kind of have to understand that and go from there.
Do you think that there's? I'm just speaking from my own experience. When I go in, I'll get LBC. I'll get the 8.5%, 8% IPA, but I can't drink those all night. And I'll switch
He does though.
to the. I have, but
Okay.
you switch to a less ABV beer, and I used to love the what's the coffee Barista Blonde. So I'm boosting Barista Blonde sales. I mean, I love it, but I really love the 8% IPA, but I can't drink it all night. So
Oh, for sure.
so I don't know. Is that a factor? Do you think the lower ABVs?
I mean, certainly it helps. I mean,
Yeah.
especially on like a game day or something
Sure.
like that. Hey, can I use the restroom real quick?
Yeah, man. This is what I do. We're at an hour.
Ugh, I should have told
If
you.
I wasn't
go
driving and
first.
dehydrating myself, I would have. I'd have been gone already. It's just up right at the top of the stairs,
Yeah,
straight ahead.
we can continue that.
a chat question that I feel like
Yes. While he's gone, let's check out all the Chatterucci over there.
Yeah, let's see. Dustin, did I mention this? Dustin says, "Bring back the Paperboy." We were talking
Ooh,
about.
Paperboy's good.
Yeah. Underage kids working. Rick, a little while ago, said you're going to pour some out for my homie, the Pope. So,
True that. We can do that. Cheers to that. Hey, on that same note,
cheers to the Pope.
while he's gone, I want to take a minute to dedicate a portion of this show, not forever, but to a young man who really was a bright star to our community. Today, Jeremiah Kelly was a early graduate of Avon High School this year, part of our 2024 state championship football team, and one of my son's good friends. He passed away this morning in his dorm room after spring ball. Not really sure what the situation was there, but prayers to his family. I'm rocking the Avon gear today for him. Jeremiah was just the kindest kid in the whole world. He loved everybody, and he's just a good people. So if you're out watching this tonight and you want to help their family out in this tough time, look on Avon to know. Maybe we'll share the post too.
Okay, we
They
can
they
do
have
that.
they have a GoFundMe account just to help with the process of bringing him back up here, and it's a thing. So
Yeah,
Kelly's, we love you. Jeremiah, rest in peace, buddy.
Yes, and your son was very close with him. I
He was,
understand.
yeah. They were. He was the left tackle. My son was the left guard, and taking it tough for sure.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So
So
there
sorry.
you go, Rick. We'll take 2 for 1 on that one. So
All right.
Yeah, do it.
I slid. No,
that's you.
whatever.
It's a good whatever.
We're good.
We are good. So what's the size of your brew house?
We have a 20 barrel system. Yeah, I feel like you're just telling like a super.
I was. We're moving on. We did our thing. We're done. We're moving on.
20 barrel.
You said brew house.
What am I supposed to do?
I'm just glad you said brew house at the end of it.
How big's your brew house?
so we have-
How big's your brew house?
So we have a 20 barrel
Big.
brew house, and then
Check his hands
20,
out.
40, and 60 barrel fermenters.
Nice.
Wow. Do you have a pilot system?
No.
Nope.
He's
We're
all
just-
in.
we're going
Let's
big.
go.
Just do.
Yeah, I don't know. Trial by fire, right? I don't know. You know.
So you do a triple batch, fill those fermenters?
Mhm.
Ooh, that's a long day.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
No?
If like the first brewer starts at like 5:30, the last guy will finish at like 7:30.
Wow.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
And that's a growth model for you, right? I mean, you started out not with 60s.
Well, we had 160 to
160.
start, and then we had 3 20s and a 60 when we started, and now we have 8 20s, 10 60s, and a 40.
1060s.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
That's a brewery right there.
it is a brewery.
Yeah.
So I don't know, who is it? Rick over there? He's asking if we'll pour it out for the Pope.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I do. So what I do want to talk about is I saw an Instagram video today that was awesome, and the dude. This was the point basically, is that this Pope, we need a Pope that lifts.
Oh,
You know, if you see these guys, you would
Oh,
think
they're-
like you would think working out was a sin.
yeah.
Like,
I agree.
you
Well,
know,
they're old,
like-
man. They're
Yeah,
old
Yeah,
when
but
they
like,
get in.
dude, come on. A lot of them aren't as old
They're
as you
kinda-
think. A lot of those Cardinals aren't as old as you think
Yeah.
either.
That is very true.
So
They just
that's-
sit
and
down
I
in their
support
chair.
that. I think that's a good idea.
Do you even lift, bro?
Yeah.
So we're calling it right here on the BlabberMalt Show. When you're out there voting for yourselves, it's going to turn black. We're going to hope it turns black until the person who is chosen lifts weights and is physically healthy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cheers to that.
Okay. Okay.
It's fine with me.
All right.
I think it's a good idea.
You know.
You know, I think that, so in that same vein, COVID changed my health regimen, right?
Yeah.
You know, I was twice the size of human being that I am today. And I think that did some with you too. Not that you've
Sure.
has shrunk, but just looking at how to maneuver science, what you have available to you today, to be a more healthy human being.
Well, I think it's like it's easy in our industry to get kind of siloed and like
Sure.
forget that like number one, I want to do this for a long time.
Yep.
You know, so like it's probably drinking beers isn't the healthiest thing, but I think there are ways to like live your life that mitigate like some of the things that aren't so good about it.
Sure.
And like then we get to do what we like longer.
Yeah.
Which should be cool.
What are some of the things that you do routine wise to kind of stave off the aging, the brewing world we
Yeah.
live in?
Yeah, I think in general, like I try to keep carbs fairly low. I think in general, if you're tasting beer, drinking beer frequently, you're getting enough carbs.
Yep.
So I try to keep carbs pretty low. So I try to
Yeah.
keep my diet mostly like meat and cooked vegetables.
Yep.
As much as possible. I'll have some rice here and there, or some stuff like that. I'll have a pizza occasionally, but
Yep.
in general, try to keep that like pretty tight on that side of things. And then I try to lift and do jujitsu.
Yep.
So I try to like lift 4 days, and maybe one of those days is kind of a more like hybrid conditioning kind of day, and then do jujitsu 2 or 3 days a week. 4 days if I'm really feeling frisky.
Future
But,
MMA here. Let's go.
I don't know about that. Dude, those days
That's
long gone.
uh,
Long gone.
That's a
I need all the brain cells I can get. I can't lose anymore.
No punches
Dude,
to
I've
the
lost
head.
too many.
But jiu-jitsu's that's an intense workout.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's super fun.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
You want to wrestle?
Yeah, good community there as well.
Yeah, it is.
So that's super cool. I try to do like sauna 4 days a week, 4 to 7 days a week. I'll get into the cold plunge stuff here and there. Cold showers,
Yeah.
I think are good.
We talked about that a couple of years ago, right? Coming out of that, it's probably a little over 2 years ago. We talked a lot about that, and you were doing a whole lot of cold.
Yeah,
I was doing almost mainly cold.
yeah,
And kind of walked through that in the process. You were doing cold to hot,
yeah,
and how that boosts your immune system and all of those things, and coming out of COVID, and how to kind of just be the best version of yourself along the way. But surprisingly, tonight we were just chit-chatting before the show about that process, and you had said that you kind of moved more towards heat.
yeah.
And why is that? Because I think that it's crazy because I did the same thing.
Yeah, so I think the cold just is a little more stressful on your nervous system, and I think like over time, if you overdo it, you can just kind of burn your nervous system out a little too much.
Yeah.
I still think it has a lot of benefits.
It does.
And maybe even like just sometimes just short cold exposure for like the mental acuity and some of the benefits there, some of the like just metabolism benefits that you don't need to like freeze yourself for 5 minutes until you're like shivering for 2 hours. But
Did
even
that
just
for a
like
while.
30 seconds
Yeah.
or like a minute
Sure.
cold still can like give some benefits there. But I think you can go hot for a lot longer and not see those nervous system impacts. It might even have a beneficial impact on the nervous system.
Sure.
Relax you before bed, get you into deeper sleep. Get some of the like lymphatic moving, like sweat some of that out. You obviously got to rehydrate, with minerals in your water
Sure.
and stuff like that. But I think there are a lot of benefits there. I think like, there's been some like longitudinal studies over like Finnish people that the people who like sauna 4 days a week
Sure.
seem to like they have like way lower all cause mortality, way higher brain function as they age. Which, like I said, I need all the brain cells I can get. I don't need to lose any more.
So are you going hot to cold or?
Yeah, so like every now and then I'll do like a hot, cold, hot, or a couple cycles of that. But a lot of days I'll just do hot. I'll do just 20 minutes. In the
You have a sauna and then a cold tub.
Yeah, I just have like I would love to have like a permanently installed cold plunge, but I just have like a tub from Tractor Supply that I fill with ice and get in or just do the cold shower or whatever.
So
It's seasonally permitting. In the summer, our water gets pretty warm.
Just
here.
put a
It
little
does.
tank and circle the glycol chiller around it.
There you go.
Yeah, I just get in the.
I've talked
glycol
about
tank.
those, right? Glycol. We've
I like to go hard
I'm
to
a-
soft.
Yeah.
that's what she said.
Hard to
Oh
soft.
man.
I'm a fan of the cold shower,
Yeah,
especially
cold shower's
that
huge.
last little bit, that 1 to 3 minutes of poignant, T zone for that kind of that brain cognitive awareness, and then again taking a moment to just do the whole body for a second because it is important to do that, but then also transitioning to a warm or a hot shower or then to a sauna is just it works.
You're transitioning. Is that what I heard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're not speaking Dave's language, so he's trying to get us back together on that one. Health
Is
food.
that okay? Is he allowed to transition?
He's absolutely allowed.
Well, that's cool. All right, as long as we're
I don't
okay on
judge.
board.
I don't judge.
No judgment.
So yeah, I think that stuff's cool. I think like staying on top of that. I think like making sure your blood work's coming back
Yep.
good and getting like more of a panel than your doctor might like ordinarily prescribe. I think like the biomarkers that you're going to get on a normal physical are kind of like limiting.
Very much so.
So I think like looking at some more
Yep.
biomarkers there is cool.
Yeah, and if you want, you can go. Your doctor might be hard pressed to get those for you, but if you work it, they can do that. The Cleveland Clinic has a non-Western kind of approach in an office that will help you do that as well, and they'll give you the full panel, right? And that's going to show you everything, lymphatic system all the way through, literally every marker that's a necessity, and I find it to be very important. To see where you're at.
Well, I found when I started doing like really like more intense blood panels, I found out that my like ferritin was off the charts.
Sure.
And then I got genetic testing, and like people with like Irish and Eastern European descent often have a condition called hemochromatosis, which I have. I found out.
Are you low in those?
No, super high.
Super high.
And then there's like a genetic marker for that as well on top of it that you get after you come back high. And so now I just have to like. So I went through like a period where I was having to like not just donate blood because you only donate blood every 56 days, but every 2 weeks I was also getting just like blood phlebotomied
Sure.
to get those numbers down because it's like super bad for you
Sure.
over a long period. Like you're going to get iron uptake in your liver and heart. You're going to get cancer.
Yeah,
You're going to get like a lot of bad stuff from that. So like, luckily I found that, but that's not a panel my doctor would ordinarily have ordered.
Never. Sure.
Yeah, because you're not having
yeah.
anemic symptoms, so
Yeah.
why would they check that? I mean, could that be linked to your carnivore diet or?
Well, no, it could be, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's genetic markers for literally the way your body processes iron and stores iron.
It's probably you have to eat
Because
like a
normally
ridiculous
your
amount of
body would
meat.
just
Yeah.
excrete the excess
Sure.
iron
Yeah.
and keep you in homeostasis, whereas I don't have that homeostasis.
Mm.
So, anyways,
No,
so
I-
now I just have to be on like donating blood
Sure.
frequently
Right.
enough.
So
to
don't
stay-
take iron supplements.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
for you.
And then the genetic testing will also show the opposite. If your magnesium, zinc, and iron are too low.
Yeah, not these markers.
No, but there's other
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Or looking at
Yeah, you just gotta look at what you're gonna.
MTHFR and
Yeah.
other
Yeah, which is huge.
genetic
Yeah,
tests that
that
are
stuff's
huge
crazy.
for what you need to
Yeah.
look at.
Yeah.
And so, all of these tests are readily available for
Yeah.
you and can help you figure out who you are and what you
Yeah.
need to supplement with and deal with yourself. And so that's a huge thing.
Yeah, highly recommend just getting a more broad spectrum panel. Getting some more stuff.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
you can pay for whatever test you want, but
Yeah,
you know,
I
the thing is-
I typically just buy my own blood work. It's
Sure.
like a few $100.
Who do you use?
I've gone back and forth between LabCorp and Quest.
Yep.
I think I'm back on LabCorp.
Okay.
Because it's easier to get the panel I want without I don't know.
All the-
Quest made it kind of a pain to pick and choose.
Yep.
But yeah,
I think there's a Quest out by across the street from the Rocky River Brewing Company. I think.
yeah,
Yep.
there is. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty convenient
Yep.
for people on the west side.
Sure.
So yeah, I do that, and then I also do hair mineral tissue analysis. So send my hair out. They put it through a spectrophotometer. They basically put it in burn it, put it in a spectrophotometer as that's happening. Then they see what elemental signatures are coming off. And that's going to tell you that's telling you more how your body's processing those minerals, and then also it's going to give you heavy metals. So
Now you're talking Dave's language.
these
that-
are
well,
He's
not
back
the,
in.
this is not the
He's
kind of
back
ones.
in. He's back in.
will they tell you like if you've been exposed to like certain pesticides or toxins, things like that?
So that test, it would, but for more of a tangential approach of
Okay.
like if your mineral ratios are really off, then it would be like more indicative that you have something else going on.
Okay, but it gives
terms
you
of
an
like-
avenue to investigate then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's like
Interesting.
from that you get like a more poignant supplement approach on the minerals side of things.
Yep.
To try to normalize all those ratios and hopefully also remove more of the heavy metals.
Sure.
Don't remove the heavy metals, man.
From your
You want 'em-
body,
you want 'em-
not your mind.
You want them in your ears, not in
Okay.
your body.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
See, well played. Way to bring it back. Thank you very much.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
There you go. So what else
All
went on
right.
in your life?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, not too much crazy.
No.
Just trying to kind of stay the course, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
It's one of those things where you mentioned kind of just sitting back and seeing where things are headed. We were pretty bullish from 2020 on.
Yeah.
And, what's the next step for us? Do we pull back? Do we hold into what we're looking at with our, not saying distribution production, but just looking at how to solidify what we've already done,
Sure.
how to best utilize resources? That's also a thing today.
Yeah.
Resources being people,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
man hours, time, individualized effort, in return on that
Yeah.
for what you're putting out. So just trying to really look through what that looks like for us. And we love Lorraine. That move has been the best thing we've ever done, ever
That's great.
for us. Yeah. Not that Avon isn't great. I think that this week we're opening up the new Avon location, Big Top.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully. So you heard it here.
Congrats on that.
Yeah,
That's-
man.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, we're excited. Really turning it into that kind of, same with Lorraine, that brew house feel.
Cool.
Couches and chairs. Walk up to the bar like Medina, get your own beverage. Of course, we have tables. We'll take care of you. But the food kind of mimics that kind of process of really being a tap room. and then finishing up what work was not done there with the brewery in the
Nice.
back. So just really kind of seeing how we can fit within today's market, right? Which is hyper local, but also need to be kind of
Yeah.
strong in what you're doing. You can't just be
Yeah.
you can't be all over the place at the point, right?
Sure,
you got to
yeah.
be
Yeah.
got to be strong.
You have to
and
a little bit
solidified.
like sort
Yeah.
of like targeted.
Yeah, targeted approach to all things, right? Distribution, what beers you're brewing, what you're doing, food, even events, all those things. And so,
Yeah.
that gives us an event center and
That's all good.
another lean. We need another, event center. That's big for
Yeah.
us.
Events are huge. Yeah.
We're booked from
Does anybody want more of this?
last weekend all the way pretty much from the 1st of April all the way through October.
It's great.
It's great, man.
We have proms coming up, which is great.
Should I hit the boil? Should we?
Let's do the boil.
Right.
It's time for
So this is where we talk about.
Dave wants to get finished.
No, I'm just saying you're talking about Big Top, and
Yep.
it was it's a spot on our list. What's going on with you guys, and Big Top sounds like it's about to hit on all cylinders here.
Yeah, I mean, just moving through the Avon Sea of code is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Tony,
So-
by the way.
cities.
So they came back with another list after you passed.
Is
and
Avon tough?
How was that?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh
probably
my
the
God,
toughest.
it's-
You'd think
city.
they would
the
go.
Westlake and
understatement.
Avon are two of the most insane.
Cleveland's for sure worse.
I don't know, man.
Dude, Cleveland's bad.
So they made us go
Dude, it's
around
bad.
and caulk around the outlets. Who wins
Who
that?
does
one?
that?
Who wins that? We did. So Cleveland's tough, but Avon, this is a commercial building, and you got to make sure that if anybody's walking down a hallway with a beverage, that they don't just fall into the wall, and you have to caulk around the outlet panel.
Oh
I know.
my God!
Yeah, so we did that amongst
They
many
also-
other
well, in
things.
that case, then you should have to have GFCIs at literally every outlet.
No, don't say that. They did say that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They did say that, and we're like, "You're ridiculous. That's not possible."
It's not necessary.
Look at him.
He's out.
I promise you,
Dude, that's
that was actually the statement when brought to them. If this is what you're asking for, then everything should be. He's like, everything will be, and if you say it again, it will be before you open. We're like, okay,
mentally ill.
mentally.
I know.
I didn't say that, but it's
We
true.
have a breaker box, right?
It's crazy.
So they gave you a list. You go through it. They
Yep.
come back and they're like, "This is great. There's 7 other things." Why didn't you just tell us on the first list? We would have done it all.
Sure.
Isn't that cool?
Yep.
That's the best part.
It is the best part. So we did the second part. Everything else was super simple between liquor and food service was awesome. So that's easy peasy
Yeah.
for us. And so
That's good.
just, kind of getting ready to open up this week. What that looks like, I'm not sure. Maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, Saturday.
You're throwing days out there now.
I don't know. I've been gone, so it's kind of figured out when I get back
Oh.
tomorrow. So it's just going to be touch and go.
Yeah.
I know.
Hopefully there's not another list. Jesus Christ.
No lists. We're past. We're moving on.
You said Wednesday, Thursday. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I've learned that you can't tell everybody what you're doing in the paper because they just get mad.
No.
Yeah, when it doesn't happen.
It
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. Just open up. It's good.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. Medina just had a crazy weekend. We had a really cool Liz, our manager there, had a 7-band, 6-vendor autism thing this past weekend. It was just baller.
Wow.
We were able to raise almost $3,000 just from people who donated that day plus beyond for the greater Akron Autism group. So it's just fun. That place is
That was the
Killing it.
drink to donate event.
no, that was just strictly for them.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We do have a drink to donate
Cool.
this Thursday. So come out. We have trivia Thursday in Lorraine. It's Harry Potter trivia. We have the draft party. So
Nice.
yeah,
I don't know nothing about Harry Potter. Mike,
I know a little bit about Harry Potter.
Okay,
I do
a little
too.
bit. Yeah, I know nothing.
Well-
I can't go. I won't win.
I mean, I certainly read all the books, but that was like decades ago.
past my hour. So I'm gonna go to the restroom. You guys chit chat.
Okay. Cool.
No,
All right, no,
He
hey.
has to talk about music. And
Oh, okay.
Muggles.
Did we talk about Madison and
Muggles.
Medina? All right, what's going on at Masthead coming up? Events?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple things. We always kind of have some new beers coming out. So we just dropped Sunday Transfer and
Okay.
Barrel Aged Old Timey,
Okay.
Barrel Aged Barley Wine.
Okay. Ooh, I love a barley wine.
Yeah,
Tom loves a barley wine.
it was in the case that I forgot, sadly.
Yeah.
But
Ah.
you know,
Wines are some
but-
nice raised beers I have. Love your barley wine.
oh, thanks so much. Yeah, we love barley wine. So
Yeah, barley
super
wines are
happy you
great.
guys like them.
Yeah.
Sunday transfer. Oh.
Yeah, what's Sunday transfer?
It's a double hazy, and sort of the idea is it's just like a running joke where you like move a transfer up like on somebody, and all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
on Sunday. And they're like,
Yeah. Like
they're like, hey, can you transfer that beer?
Yeah, sure, I'll
we
do
need,
it.
Hey, we
Wait,
need to package that beer
oh.
on Tuesday, so can you transfer that on a couple days here? And it's Friday, and they're like, so that means Sunday, right? Oh, I guess that is Sunday.
Ah.
But it's just like a horror story every brewer has had.
Yeah.
Where it's just
You
like
don't think
you're
about
like,
it,
all
yeah.
right, well, I guess I'm doing this on Sunday. We have a guy, Nick, works Sundays now, so it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a bit more boilerplate than it used to be, but yeah. So that's always funny, but it's a double hazy, bunch of Citra, Citra Mosaic, Idaho 7.
Sounds
Super
delicious.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
pretty happy with that.
Yeah, like when a home brew and like all, I want to brew this home brew, and then you brew it and then, we're going on vacation and it's like ready to keg or something like when we're gone. I'm like,
Yeah, you can't leave it.
can't leave it, can't go. Vacation's canceled.
Done.
Sunday transfer. Yeah.
Whew,
How did
Yeah.
everything come out? Good.
good. I blame you for breaking the seal earlier. So
I feel so much better. So yeah, that's
wrong.
cool. We got another beer called Zumo Wrestler that hasn't been announced yet, and there's a new
Zumo
hop
Wrestler.
that's I think it hit last year, but we got some this year called Zumo, and we were out in Yakima with Hollingberry. It was just a lot. It was just like a hop they had on like the community table to rub, and it smelled just incredible.
nice.
Like big, like lime zest, orange peel, like super bright. So we got a West Coast IPA coming out with a Zumo called Zumo Wrestler. Pretty excited for that.
Good name too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And that'll be in like 2 weeks probably.
Okay.
See, I'm digging
Stay
that.
tuned for that.
I'm digging those lime zest hops. Like
Yeah.
just
It smelled insane on the table. Like so we got like 3 boxes. Nothing crazy. But gives us a little bit of. We're gonna do that. We'll probably do a hazy with it later in the year,
heck yeah.
which will be cool. And then what else? We got a Bissell Shriek coming out. It's not announced yet, but that'll be in bottles. That'll probably go with Zumo Wrestler, and that's a blend of stout and barley wine.
Nice. You got those
And then
ladies back there are excited for that.
Yeah,
That's
super
all you got to
tasty.
say. How you doing? Stout and barley wine.
A little bit of a blend, a little bit of cuvee, and then towards the June 1st, we're gonna have a tapping. So when you were texting me a couple weeks ago, I was in Belgium.
Yep.
I was in Belgium collabing with a brewery out there called
That's awesome.
Circus, and they're not like they're tightly related with De Brabander, which is the
Easy
brewery
for
that
you to
makes
say.
Bavik and Petrus.
Ooh.
And so we collabed with them. We made a hazy IPA.
Nice.
So that's coming over. It's going to hit mid-May in the States.
Heck
and then we're going to have a little party to tap that. Then we did a collab with them here. They didn't come here, but we collabed in the recipe
Sure.
or whatever. It's a Pils. So we're going to have a Pils. We're going to have that hazy IPA. And then we're also probably going to just put a couple like their Petrus on and Bavik super pills that they brew, which is a really great pills. So we have those 4 on tap. Manny from the brewery is going to be out here.
Nice.
So him and Brendan are going to come by, and it'll be some good beers. Yeah,
Sounds like a time to go to Masthead.
yeah,
Definitely. It's always a good time to go to Masthead.
Always.
yeah. That'll be really fun.
Get you a salad
Or a pizza.
or a pizza.
Yes.
Which Belgium's awesome. Definitely recommend everybody go if you can. I mean, the beers are great. People are really, really nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to get there.
yeah, you should.
I do love Belgians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, those guys can drink.
Yeah.
Dude, they can drink.
Well, all their beers are 10%. I mean,
so we meet up with these. Do we have time?
No, we're good, man.
So we
Keep
meet up with
rolling.
these guys at Circus, Tim, and his business partner Bert, and we meet up there at their brewery. It's like they've got like a little 5 hecto system with 5, 10, and 15 hecto fermenters, and hectoliters and barrels for those. They're pretty close to 1-to-1. Hectoliters a little smaller, but same thing. So they do a lot of IPAs there. They're a pretty IPA focused brewery, but they do some other traditional styles as well. So we drank some of their beers. We did a little walking tour because they're in this cool little complex that has like this old like power station that they do like weddings and stuff at now. Yep. And has like a bunch of like Nazi like power units and stuff from like before the war, which is crazy. They had like the swastikas all etched out and stuff.
You can't say that there though, right?
No, they were cool. The Belgians are
cool with it.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
not like the Belgians are pretty laid back in general because they were like not really
part of it.
They were
Yeah.
just like conquered at the time.
Sure.
Whatever was left, they had. And then it has like this giant diving tank. It's just like this old tanker unit that they've converted into like a scuba setup.
Seriously?
Yeah. It was like it was really cool. And they were like, there's like a bar in there with taps, and like so the scuba people do their thing, like training and stuff, and then they come drink beers. And then there was like a ropes course, and there was some other cool stuff. And then there's like also an outdoor bar that they open in the summer.
Nice.
So all that stuff was really cool. And then we went to lunch, and we went to this. Dude, we went to this restaurant. It was crazy. There was no menu. You just got the option of steak or salmon. And steak was obviously the choice. And so like it was like a 4-course lunch. So they like pull out like this a single scallop with like some greens and stuff as like your first course. And then there was also they paired one of their beers with every course.
As you should.
So like, and like my wife Liz was there too. So I'm like drinking my beer. I'm drinking half of her beer. So I'm like, there's no way she cannot drink 3 beers at lunch, And so like it was a scallop with some greens. They paired that with their IPA. And then the second course was it was a pork cheek that was like slow braised.
I love pork cheeks.
It's super good. And so that was really cool. They paired that with their Saison. And then the main course they paired with their triple. It was kind of a unique Belgian triple that was like, they like added a bunch of herbs to it. And this stuff just smelled like chartreuse.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. It smelled like identical to chartreuse.
Nice.
So it was super good with the steak. And the steak was like, there was no temp option. It just came out medium
Just came
rare.
out like one. Yeah.
It was just medium rare
That's
as
how it
their
should be.
option.
yeah, and that's perfect.
Yeah.
Welcome to a world outside of America, people.
Yeah, it was wild. And then like once all the main courses were out to everybody in the restaurant, the chef came out and played piano.
Yes.
Of course he did.
Why not?
That's what you do.
Yeah,
It's like the
it was
squeeze
crazy.
box downtown.
Wow.
And then there was like a little like sort of like compote like sort of dessert that had like chocolate mousse in it or something. That's kind of
What was
wild.
the pair with that one?
There was no pairing there, so it was
Okay.
only 3 beers that you had to drink.
What did you order
lunch.
for that one?
I was finishing Liz's
Okay.
beer.
Okay.
We were trust me, we were good.
You were good.
And then we went to the Brabander and did a tour there.
Oh.
And then drank a bunch of Bavics and stuff. So that was pretty fun. And we tasted like all the fooders.
Sure.
Because they had like all the Petrus fooders.
Oh my God, I do love Petrus.
And they're like, all right, so what do you want to do for dinner? I'm like, dude, I need a nap.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't checked in our hotel yet. Like, I'm gonna have to sleep.
I can lay down
I'm
for
like
a minute.
jet lagged as hell. Like, it was crazy. But
5
super
beers
fun.
for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a beer dinner at ABC.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 7 beer, full pours.
can
Yeah,
drink.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10% triple was
get
like,
you.
oh Jesus, like,
What do they serve them in?
well, in Belgium they have different glassware
Sure.
for everything, so they had a bunch of different glassware that
Nice.
they used for various beers.
Little itty bitty cups or like the big goblet?
So they have like different, like, so they had like 2 different. They had a pint glass, then like a different glass for a different pint glass kind of for the Saison. They had like a goblet type wine glass for the triple.
Nice.
Yeah,
So you didn't get too wasted.
yeah, it was fun.
So that's all coming out in May,
Yeah, so that'll be like June 1st.
June 1st.
We'll drop the collab with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we're headed out to Masthead for that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm in.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, and Manny will be there, and he definitely deserves a hangover. So
Yeah.
you know,
Turnabout's fair play.
yeah. Yeah.
It's good. What we got?
Rick asked, we need a Jeep update. Oh, you want to give us a Jeep update?
Nope.
Do you want to?
So for a while now, we've been busting chops about the fact that Dave
Yeah.
wouldn't buy her a Jeep
Oh, really?
because he buys all this
Well, it's
stuff.
a great American
So,
vehicle made in
it
Toledo,
is.
Ohio.
So-
Mind
She
you.
had an old Jeep.
She had a Wrangler Sport. I'll give you the down and dirty. So we go in, we trade this Jeep in right here in Avon Lake, buy a brand new Rubicon X, murdered out to the nines. It's got everything. It's the special color this year, Fathom Blue. Drive it off the lot. She's so happy. She's doing this. Stereo's bumping. We go up to Marblehead, pull off the highway to a stoplight, dies. Dead.
Brand new.
Every warning light you can imagine. We limp along for the weekend. On our way home, we can't drive it over 8 miles an hour. They have to
You got back
flatbed
from
it.
Marblehead? Jesus Christ.
They have to flatbed it back to Avon Lake. They have it for 3 weeks, diagnosing, fixing. It's a power control module. They replaced it. They end up having to replace the sensor for the something else. We get it back. So, moral of the story is, or the end of the story is, we got it back. It's running. It's running.
We got it. We got it.
It's good to go.
Yeah, it's good to go.
What was
So,
wrong with it?
Oh, it is?
it was a computer thing called the power control mod, or the powertrain control module. It was just throwing errors, and so there you go, Rick.
There you go,
She's got
Rick.
the Jeep. So when you see this murdered out Fathom Blue Jeep with these gigantic tires, it's in the garage. You can check it out.
We're going to check it out.
70 miles an hour.
It's running. So there's the Jeep update.
Here you go.
Sick.
So
Did you guys talk about the Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery news?
we did not. It's over. We have a winner.
We have a winner, everybody.
MacArthur's Brew
Winner.
House with their Snow Day Albino Stout.
Yep.
So congratulations. We should get down there because we've had the Hoppy Dudes with their orange sickle,
We have
orange
orgasmic
orgasmic, or orgasmic.
fermented orange puree.
Yeah, which is that's a delicious
It's
beer.
really good.
I haven't had the Snow Days,
Nope.
however, but I think I got to get out there and try it.
Yep.
So
Are you guys
There you go.
participating in any of the Cleveland Beer Week events?
Yeah, I think we're going to do Barrel Age Bash and Festival of the Hop.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have to email her back, but we might do Lager Lanes again, and love to be a part of Festival of Hops. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Should be a good time.
Should be a good time.
Should we?
And-
Are we still
yeah,
going to
let's-
do we still want to talk hop stuff or?
Yeah.
I mean, do we have time?
We're all the time in the
Yeah.
world, buddy.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
That's true. I mean,
we make the rules, man.
We are the
well,
show.
that's cool. Good.
And, it's a 100th episode. Let's just keep rolling. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's
I don't
go.
know. I mean, we can bounce back and forth.
Yeah, no. So hops.
mean,
I mean, the world has changed so drastically
Yeah.
in hops utilization, how we get them, what we do with them, and I know that you're on the forefront of that.
try to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to be.
What's that look like for you in terms of? So if you think back, even in homebrew days when you first started, you were talking about T90 pellets,
Yeah.
right? And that was even 20 plus years ago. What has the market looked like today for an IPA versus in 2015 with either all whole cone or T90 pellets?
Yeah, and I think like the difference can be brewery to brewery to
Sure.
some degree. Like I think there are breweries out there who their kettle and brew house setup does like a really bad job of sort of dealing with T90s. Like we have a whirlpool, so it
Sure.
makes it a little easier and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I do think there's like some of the more like flowable hop extracts can be like super useful to like sort of boost your whirlpool, capacity,
Sure.
especially on like a hazy or a West Coast, especially if you're not like if you have a situation that's not capable of dealing with a lot of green matter. Well, you can boost that with some of those flowable extracts like the, Incognito
Yep.
or the YCH, what do they call it now? Dynaboost, and layer some more hops in there, especially on that side of it, without just paying the penalty of yields. Because when it was all T90s, with all T90s, we would brew like a 20 barrel batch and yield like 11 barrels sometimes.
Sure.
Which is just like insane.
Which is why you go ahead.
I was just going to ask, as a homebrewer, I've never had any of these extracts. What is the physical product look like?
It's almost like a flowable wax in a way. Like it's super sticky and super dense, but you can pour
That's
it.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So when you
wax.
heat it up, it
You can
kind of dissolves.
Well, some of the more flowable extracts, they'll dissolve in boiling wort or hot
Sure.
wort, no problem. But the flowable ones, you don't need to heat up as much. We still like to warm them up just a little bit so they flow a little better. It's not so crazy. Like when I started brewing, extracts existed, but they were mostly for bitterness, and they were super super thick. They were like a resin almost. So you'd have to heat
I've
those
seen
up to like
those,
near
yeah.
boiling to get those to like really flow good.
Okay.
Or like when I was homebrewing, what I would do is like buy a can and I would fill syringes.
Sure.
And then I would have those syringes like in my fridge, and then I would just like dose however many milliliters that I needed into like the starting boil. So we still use that. We've always used that for bitterness on like our West Coast IPAs, American IPAs, clear IPAs. But for the now with that incognito product, you can use it there. Cryo obviously has become pretty mainstream. I do feel like when cryo first dropped, it was not the same. I think they've like improved the process basically.
Okay.
So like there was always like big breweries always had access to something called a T45 as opposed to a T90, and that's like roughly relative to like the amount of matter you're getting from what you put in. So it's just like more lupulin, less green matter. 90% of what you put in you get back.
Yep.
T45, 45%. Like a cryo is like a T28.
Yep.
So it's almost all lupulin, very little green matter. And I do think that product is much more well-rounded. We use it a lot more than we used to. We used to feel like even if we added a little bit to like a 60, we would notice like sort of an extracty kind of character.
Sure.
Whereas now we can go upwards of like 20 or 30% and not get as harsh of a hit. I don't know if you kind of feel the same way about that.
I mean, for us, we scaled our brew house for the T90, right? We net 5 barrels on hazies, so we have a 6.8, 6.9, size brew house.
Yeah.
So it was built for that purpose.
Yeah.
So when you use products like that on a 5 barrel net system, right, in general, which we don't do it anywhere else, but you don't get the massive swing that you might on 60 barrels.
Yeah.
Which is nice for us, in
That's
terms
good.
of that. But yeah.
But then it's like a level of if you want to layer in more hop
Yes.
flavor, you can now like
Do
use
that.
equivalent poundage, but you get more impact.
Correct.
Pounds. So like
So I
be
mean,
pretty
you said
beneficial.
the product has improved. Where do you think it's going? You think there's room for improvement, or it's pretty maxed
I think it's
out?
really good now. Yeah.
Okay.
I think like we're really happy with the cryo products we're getting now. We use them somewhat frequently. It's
Yeah.
Whirlpool especially, dry hop, we layer them in. It works out really nice.
Cool.
It is a little more expensive, but
Well,
if your yield's
yeah,
better,
just
it
don't
definitely
use-
helps.
yeah,
But
exactly.
also there's certain beers where you just need that hop impact.
Yep. Without all the waste
Yeah, 100%.
or loss. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say waste, but
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah,
loss.
you get more yield. It's more efficient,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Because you heard him say, you're doing a 20 barrel batch and you're getting 11.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's tough.
That stuff was
right?
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're throwing sugar away and just product. That's
I
money
mean, that's all your.
down the drain.
That was the old school days of hazies, right? I mean,
Yeah, and even West Coast
West
double
Coast too.
IPAs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're super bad. I mean, I'm sure Fatheads has
Up to
seen
the
a
gills.
massive improvement in like juju yields, by being able to use some of that. I don't know. I can't speak for them. I don't know for sure, but I'm certain they're seeing.
I'm
it
certain.
better.
I mean, they still say they use a little bit of whole cone.
Yeah,
It's gotta
which they
be-
certainly do.
Sure.
But they have the hop back and the
do.
dosers and stuff on the
Keeps
new
it all-
systems. They have a lot of
Yeah.
advantages there that they probably didn't at the old place. And
Correct.
definitely, I'm sure it helps. So that's really cool. It's nice to just be able to layer more hop character in without having to aggressively sacrifice yield. And like still, we might on some of these beers yield 15 out of a 20, but that's much better. 11. I mean, that's like a 50%
That's a
increase in
huge
yield,
increase,
practically,
right.
45 or something.
So, Mike, let me ask you this: you still homebrew at all? Ever?
No.
Okay.
Because it takes the same amount of time to brew 20 barrels as it
Yeah.
does 5
Yeah, I
gallons.
gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
like at a certain point.
Just for nostalgia, though,
Yeah.
I just thought maybe you're like, let's get out the kettle and wheel it out into the garage and see what we can do.
I'll just brew 20 barrels
Yeah,
of beer.
okay. All right. Sounds good. Fair enough.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of breeding programs. There's going to be some new hop, like this Zumo is really cool. I think there's going to be Strata came out somewhat recently.
Mm-hmm.
That's been really cool. I think there's going to be more hops that come down the pipeline. Crush, I think everybody likes
I've heard,
now.
yeah.
HBC 1019 is going to get a name soon, and that's really cool. So those are all really fun.
And it's really moving in that direction of that peel, limey, and I dig those hops across the board.
Yeah.
And so people's palates are changing. It's just a fun movement.
Super zesty, bright
zesty,
character,
yep.
but then like it doesn't leave it so dank on the
Yep.
palate, which is really nice. And if you want dankness, you can still layer that in with some
Sure.
Chinook or some Centennial, or we have the tools to do that job.
Yep,
So
correct.
like now we can kind of layer those things
Gives that
together.
brightness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat. There's also that conversation about looking not just at utilization of hop, but also survivability of the oils that are there and when to use them and what hops, down to all the way down to the very granular concepts, right?
Yeah.
And then when to use this certain hop, what's the best utilization of that hop, when, all across the board. So
Yeah.
that makes a big difference too.
Yeah. I mean, we did that collab with when the OCBA was in
Yep,
Cleveland. We
that was
did that
great.
collab with YCH called High Survival.
Yep.
And I was so hungover at the presentation, but it was cool. The beer like super work. Like there were some ideas that they had that I didn't necessarily like, but we
Sure.
implemented them in the beer, and the beer came out just awesome.
Yeah.
So it was a good learning experience there.
It is. And the concept is still good science
Yeah,
about when,
yeah,
when to use a certain hop and when the best utilization of that hop. And we still use some of those concepts too.
yeah.
And we've really tried this year to get some of the results from either West Coast clear IPAs or hazies without relying on Citra,
Yeah, it's a good move.
just for fun.
Sure,
Right.
yeah.
And really trying to dive into what that looks like. And I think we've done a really nice job of that this year. So if you
Good.
come to the brewery, I don't think only Citra Trails is the only beer that has Citra on it.
Really?
And they're just bright, wonderful. The IPAs are killing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good hops out there now.
There's so many
for
good
sure.
hops now,
Yeah.
right? And so
It's
not that
super-
Citra's
super
wrong
viable.
at all.
Yeah.
It's just growing and learning and really just experimenting with what's
No,
out
it's super
there.
viable.
Yeah.
I mean, Strata, Crush,
Yep.
Sumo now. I mean, I think you have a lot of options that,
Really do.
that can yield you a lot of benefits.
I agree.
What's the lineage of Zumo?
I don't know.
Do we know?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, that's going to be once. I think we're going to try to get out to. So that's a hop that's been propagated by Siegel Ranch,
Okay.
and they're in Yakima, but they're like one of the like surrounding cities of Yakima. Like so if I got that a little wrong, don't get at me. Like they're right near there. They might
It's
be
in the
like
valley.
Centerville. Yeah, but their breeding program's been pretty interesting and pretty unique because it's like wholly independent on like a soul base.
You
Just
said that was lime heavy?
yeah, there's like a lot of lime zest, but there is a lot of like orange, like deep orange character as well.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
It's got a couple things going for it that I think are pretty interesting.
Like
Interesting.
overripe orange or just deep
No,
orange?
like orange juice.
Nice.
Like yeah, like
Okay.
it's not quite orange. It's not like orange peel. It's like orange juice.
Nice.
I felt like yeah.
That's cool. Can't
Yeah,
wait for
that's-
those, man. It's
That's
just
a good tool to have.
it's a great time to be a beer drinker,
Yeah,
for real.
It is. There's
Yeah,
a
I
lot of good stuff out there.
and a brewer.
And a brewer, it's fun.
Yeah, another product we've been using a lot is called Salvo, and that's a Hopsteiner product. But it's like a beta. It's a fractionation of the betas. So there's alpha acids, which is what most people know about. They add IBUs. There's also beta acids that are a bit more nebulous. But I've always felt like hops that are high in beta add like a longevity character to the beer. And so this is like a high beta fractionation.
You're a
Hey,
beta.
And you layer that in sort of at like 10 or 5 minutes. And I think it adds this like sort of like additional punch that kind of like hangs out as the beer ages, especially on the shelf. And we've been big fans of that as well.
That's really cool.
We use a little bit of that in Lean West.
And I love we're transitioning, David, to betas from
Here
alphas.
we go again. Here we go again.
Dude, why are you out here judging?
I don't.
Bro.
I'm
I
just
don't know.
saying,
This is the third time he said that
Yeah, I
today.
know.
I feel like-
this is the second.
Dude,
Go
we need a
back and
Sigma
count.
extract now.
What the Sigma, Dave?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
You know, what I love about where we're headed today is what you see in some of these beers, right? This really letting the hops and shine. But I also think that it lets the malt shine.
Yeah.
But it's just lighter, right? People think, and even today, people come into the brewery and they're like, oh, I don't like IPAs. They're too dark and malty. I'm like,
You have no idea what you're talking about.
how long has that been since you've tried an IPA, right? Let's walk through some things for you, right? And just let you see where
Since 2013 or something. You know?
I know, right? And so you get a taste. The really cool, either in this case, I'm guessing Pilsner malt, right?
Yeah.
Along with just letting the hops shine. I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it. What do you think about the cold concept, right? Like cold IPA.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting.
Yeah.
We haven't forayed in it too much. It's one of those things that's kind of nebulous of how you do it, and that's kind of that's also could be the fun part of it because there's a lot of ways to do it. So it's like you could do it with an alt beer yeast and ferment it just at like the kind of low
Correct.
temp of ale temperatures and get sort of that character. You could also take a lager yeast and ferment it warm, and lager yeasts are a biotransformer.
Sure.
So there is some opportunity there, and I've tasted some beers that are just incredible that are brewed that way. What's the super like metalhead brewery out in Seattle? Did you go there?
Seattle.
No, I went to 5 breweries, but none of them were the metal ones.
Okay, so there's one on it's like on the north side of Seattle.
I didn't go that north.
I wish I could think of it, but they're like super metalhead type place, and they brew almost all lagers, but they brew IPAs. They do them all with their lager yeast, and they
Nice.
taste awesome.
Yeah.
So, like,
So, our brewer, Mike, is mainly stationed out in our Medina location.
yeah, Holy
And
Mountain. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it, Holy
those
Mountain.
guys. Yeah, that brewery's.
Yep.
They
They were
awesome
closed when I
beers.
was out there, but
Oh, really?
yeah, I saw all their specs. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Because there's obviously the haze craze is still out there, right? But that's awesome. But he propagates most of our lager yeast for us as we move around. And so he's working through a lot of our cold IPAs or hoppy pilsners, whatever you want to call them, right? And I dig it. I love that crisp, clean
Yeah.
lager finish,
Yeah.
but those hops just punch. I dig it. I
that's
love, yeah. And he plays around with stuff. I think
Well, then that's
neat.
like then there's like that line of is it a West Coast Pils,
Sure.
which is like super big in Oregon and Washington now, or is it a cold IPA, which then like there's sort of a line there of like, and that's just we're still figuring that out.
We're still figuring it out.
Where
And people
that-
don't know here,
where
right?
that
So,
lies, yeah.
like in Medina, you call it a West Coast Pils. They're cool with it because they understand the lager concept. 'Cause they're lagery people. You bring that same beer to Avon. I call it a West Coast Pils. They're like, well, I was hoping for a Pilsner. Okay, well, it's more like a cold IPA.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I understand.
Potato, man.
But
Yeah.
a little bit. There's still, in my mind, a difference.
Yeah, I think there's like an ABV limit, and then
Yep.
there's still like a fermentation
Fermentation
thing of
different.
like, do you like ferment it like a lager? Do you ferment it a little higher?
Yep. So we have a West Coast Pils on. They ain't like us. I think it's pretty
Nice.
good. Yeah, it's a nice beer.
You'll have to try it.
Yeah, I dig it. We'll have to bring some out to you. I really like that
Yeah,
a
I'll
lot.
have to get down there. One of the
Yeah,
two.
it's fun. We have 32 beers on tap. So
Dude,
you
we
can
got to
have
wrap
everything.
this up.
What?
We got to wrap it up.
All right.
Was Rick sick of listening to us at this point?
I'm sick of Rick talking. I'm just
Probably
kidding, Rick.
no. He's not saying
Hey,
nothing.
check it
man.
out. So he's dropping one. Look at health conscious brewers. Nicotine. It's the way to go.
Nicotine.
It's good for your brain.
It's good for your brain.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I've been
super good. For
Yeah,
your
I
brain.
mean the nicotine isn't carcinogenic. It's
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, it's all
caffeine.
the other
It's-
shit in-
yeah, it's all the
it's all the other
tar
shit
and,
in
all
cigarettes,
the
you know?
carbon monoxide.
There's even some studies that talk about raising the testosterone a little bit
No,
too.
yeah,
By the
boost
way.
testosterone. I mean, we saw in COVID. What was weird is like the COVID data where they thought like populations that smoked really heavily were going to do way worse,
It did the opposite.
but they did better.
Yep.
They were like, okay, well, something's going on here, and then it's like, well, it's not the smoking, it's the nicotine. which actually has some
know.
benefits. Yeah,
Yep.
Don't talk to
You
this
have to
guy.
eat-
He's a tobacco guy from.
You'd have to
way
use
back.
eat a whole lot of broccoli to get the same nicotine as you would in some of these
Yes,
products, but
yeah, but it's in there.
it's still there.
Tomatoes,
Tomatoes,
it's
yeah,
a bunch
your
of stuff,
nightshades. It is what it is.
crushing nightshades on the regular.
Broccoli
dude.
has nicotine in it, by the way.
No, you're learning stuff today.
Dropping
BlabberMalt
knowledge on all of you today. So we're gonna Lagerland. What was the other one you're gonna go to? The barrel aged bash.
Yeah, barrel aged bash.
That's
Got
gonna be
a
epic.
June
Right?
22nd, the Saison Fest. You know I'm all about the Saisons, bro.
There's a Saison Fest.
Yeah.
There is a Saison Fest.
Yeah. Bell Tower.
They're emailing about it already.
Yeah.
Because they need support for a Saison Fest.
Well, we got to do the
I love Saison.
Barnstorm.
So.
Who doesn't, right? But again, how to get people to sign up for a Saison Fest? Let's go.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Have like a section with West Coast IPA.
Yes.
that would
You know,
work, man.
yes.
That would
Yes.
work.
Bring back side piping. Do a little.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I love those dudes, man.
Side piping.
Funny as you know what.
New collabs called Touching Tips, you know?
Yep.
Mm.
2 cans. It's 2 cans.
That's how you do it.
It's time
Two
to
cans.
grain out.
All right, man. Here's what we got coming up. Boss Dog next week, the 29th, out in Cleveland Heights. We have. I could use this thing. Let me use this thing. I spent money for it. All right, there we go.
The teleprompter.
May 6th, we have Missing Mountain out in Cuyahoga Falls. Yeah, 100 episodes. May 13th, Missing Mountain is going to be in studio with us. Who's coming back? Do you know? Which one of them?
I think all of them are.
All of them.
three of them.
Holy shit, we got 3 of them. Then the 20th, we're going to be out in Mansfield. We're hitting the road again, dude.
I know.
Out at Phoenix. Yeah,
It's a long trip.
Hitting the road. You're driving this time.
I know. I owe you one. Drive back and forth.
Yeah.
Then we got to get. We got to get out to see you.
Cool.
Your location.
we
Get
gotta
a tour
put
of the
something
brewery.
on, yeah. So yeah, I think we're out into June now, but yeah, I'd love to get out into that space.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some pizza when we're out there.
Cool.
I have to get some pizza.
We'll get you a salad.
Oh, you need a salad.
I
Dave.
probably should do a salad. Yeah.
Thank you,
Definitely.
Maria, for the 100th episode
Yes, the
brownies.
brownies. We're gonna crush those in a little bit. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, Facebook and YouTube, and Spotify. We're on there. We'll be up there tomorrow. You can get it on audio and video.
Hit up Masthead on their Instagram page.
Yeah. We have a new website too.
Oh,
finally.
nice.
Yeah,
You're
our
on
website was
Facebook too.
like-
Facebook
oh,
too.
yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has
Facebook.
people that does that stuff
Instagram.
for him.
Yes.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. But like, yeah, we got a new website as well, and it's functional now.
There
as
you go.
opposed to the previous one that was like, we like opened it up one day, and it was just all like boner pill like advertisements, like hacked. We're like, oh dear God, we're gonna have to change this like quickly.
Oh no.
We'll see your
Oh, no.
ROI on that. So you've done well so far.
It was great. We got a bunch of new followers.
There you go. Speaking of following, get your act together and follow us, guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, and don't forget to email us if you have any concerns, questions you want us to answer. BlabberMalt@gmail.com. We'd be happy to do that for you. We're also on Threads, X, Instagram @BlabberMalt.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Check us out.
Faux show.
Hey, Mike, we appreciate you coming out
Hey,
today.
thanks for
having me.
Epic,
Mike.
man.
Yeah, really
It was
appreciate
awesome.
it.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Tommy,
Really
thanks for the
enjoyed
high
that, too.
life. Maria, thanks for the
Champagne and
brownies
beers.
in a second. Guys, been 100 episodes. It's been a little over 2 years with you. We're excited, and we are blessed to promote all things Cleveland breweries.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
It's been a great time.
It has been. Until next time, guys.
Stay malty, Cleveland.
Yeah, I was just like worried. I'm like, did I need shotgun more beers? Or shotgun less beers?